ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of cricket.
September means finals footy.
He calls it through for a magnificent goal.
But at ABC Sport, it also means we're counting down to the summer of cricket.
Mr. Smith thumps that through cover point away for 4.
Starting Tuesday night, the Women's ODI World Cup.
Big 6 from Phoebe Litchfield.
Plus Australia versus India in the Men's ODI and T20s. The WBBL, the Big Bash, and the biggest rivalry in the game.
The Ashes.
The Ashes.
Stark rumbles in and bowls it down. Bowled. He's bowled him. First bowl.
ABC Sport and the ABC Listen app. Your home of cricket this summer.
ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
Live from Yarra Park, this is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL Grand Final Parade.
Things are starting to look a bit different now when you're in the Grand Final Parade. Pretty exciting feeling.
It's a great week. It's great to be a part of and pretty lucky to be in this parade. And hopefully a good game of footy, but I don't want it too close because I don't have the heart to handle it.
You can never quite prepare yourself for the amount of people that are here and the amount of support that we get.
This is the AFL Grand Final Parade.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio, and on the ABC Listen app.
Since 1977, this great tradition, the AFL Grand Final Parade, the last major event before the game proper. And we are here at Yarra Park at the Festival of Footy as the countdown is officially on. Corbin Middlemass alongside the Premiership Pie, Luke Ball. Oh, it's great to be here on ABC Sport. As always, it is clear for now, which is good news. A forecast top of 22. There's a 70% chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon, with the chance of a thunderstorm. But we are hoping to get the parade underway and completed without any major interruption before then. Luke Ball, as I said, alongside me, the Premiership Pie. Hello, Ballie.
Corby, great to be here. Thanks for having me again. I love this day. It's a great day in Melbourne, isn't it? As we reach the crescendo tomorrow, and it's a great week, isn't it? You're right, overcast skies, and it has been all week. It's been a funny old week in Melbourne, hasn't it? I feel like in some sort of way it's just blanketed the build up a little bit, but from today through to when the ball's bounced at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. The public holiday, of course, in Melbourne, and as you look out now, the sea of, well, Lions and Cats colours. It's a special day, as I said, and it's great to be here. And I think I said it last year as well. It's amazing that it sort of took so long for us to bring the festival here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Utilise this, amazing.
Think about the old days,
that's
up,
right.
up to the steps of the Treasury building.
It didn't really hit the mark, did it? Obviously wasn't. And with the public holiday now, so many kids around. So
it's such a great precinct, isn't it? And it feels like you could reach out and touch the stage. We're that close to it. You can probably hear through the PA in the background, and you will be able to throughout the program. We're on for the next 2.5 hours, so we'll have the press conference covered, plus when they're presented on stage, which will happen just after 11:30 Eastern Time. So we'll bring you all of that. Some feature guests. Mark Knight's going to join us, the Herald Sun cartoonist. We'll have parents of players, plus you'll hear from the players in the back of the Utes as well as we work our way through. The grand final itself, Ballie, and we've got Geelong and Brisbane, and I feel like when the grand final matchup was set, there was probably a reaction from a few people, maybe even when we got to the Final Four, where they thought, it's the same old teams again. And yet now we've got to this point, I must admit, I love this matchup, and I feel like it is almost the rubber match of the era, of the generation, where which team will become the first, or which club will get to 5 premiership first this century. And that's what's at stake here. Either Geelong will win a 5th premiership inside 20 years, or it'll be the Brisbane Lions from 2000 onwards that become the first team to 5 flags. And for them in particular, and really both teams are built off the foundations of a great era gone by. So for Geelong, it was those 3 flags in 5 years. For Brisbane, it was the hat-trick of premierships. And are we living in the Geelong era, or are we living in the Brisbane Lions era? It feels like we're going to find out at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
2 heavyweights, aren't they? And not without challenges, though, both of them. Certainly the Lions. I mean, you go back to when Chris Fagan joined the club almost 10 years ago now, and they were at rock bottom. They couldn't keep players. People were wanting to get out of there and get home to Victoria, and fast forward now, they're a powerhouse, aren't they? And a destination club. You know, we'll obviously be looking beyond tomorrow. They've got players wanting to join them, which is terrific for footy up in Queensland. We know that. You know, the young talent coming through. I think I saw a stat 9 maybe or 10 of the players playing tomorrow are Queensland born. So that's terrific. Wow. You know, from an AFL point of view, put down your allegiances in your own colours. It's for the good of the game, the growth of the game. It's been a wonderful story, and they're just a magnificent club. It's it's great to see, and then as you said, Geelong, going back to sort of 04, 05, 21 years ago, when I was having great battles with them with the Saints, and ever since then, they've had obviously the Mark Thompson era and now the Chris Scott era. They are the benchmark club, really, in modern times.
Yeah. The Thursday night's all about the teams. They dropped last night. Lockie Neal is in, so not a whole lot of surprise there, given felt like he ticked every box on the way through, and Jared Berry, unfortunately, is the hard luck story. It feels almost identical to what Oscar McInerney went through last year, the double dislocation of the shoulder, and ultimately he's going to be the hard luck story, but the captain's back.
Yeah, and Berry first, obviously, devastating for him, but from all reports, put his hand up, knew that he couldn't commit to playing his role and playing a full game, so put his hand up pretty early on in the week and did the selfless thing. So, well done to Jared. And look, the fact that he's got a medal in his pocket from last year probably makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it, to make that call. And then, Lockie Neal, I mean, everyone wrote him off, including the club, really, when it happened 21 days ago today, I think. And it's interesting, isn't it? I think back, some players do have greater powers of recovery. I remember Robert Harvey, who actually had calves similar to Lockie Neal, the guys with the big calves. I remember him playing 2 weeks after a calf strain. And when you dedicate every minute of every day to getting something right, and you've got 21 days, you can defy what the textbook medical opinions say. So, the talk is that it's a massive risk. And look, there's always an element of risk on grand final week, but I think with Berry going out and the fact that, as you say, this is your champion player, your captain, a guy who, for all intents and purposes, could have been receiving the Norm Smith medal last year. Yes, you've got to make the call as the coach, but I think you after conversations and the fact that we saw him yesterday, he looked pretty good, didn't he? So he would know. So I think now the decision's made, so it's full steam ahead. The conversation would be right. No more conversations about it. You're picked, you're fully fit, and away we go. And he'll play an important role. I think there's a bit of talk whether he'll start sub. I don't think so. I think he'll be in the centre bounce when the helter-skelter's on early, and his clean hands and his composure and his leadership will play a key role tomorrow.
The recent stories, one way or the other, so McGovern and May, the success stories, they played, they got through. McGovern had internal bleeding. May had a tear in his hamstring, and both of them were able to play significant roles down back for their respective clubs. Neil's a midfielder, so it's different again. Meanwhile, the ones that went the other way, Phil Davis for the Giants and Sam Reid for the Swans, they both were hurt and didn't get through. So as we always say with these things, to be told in hindsight, won't it? If Brisbane win, it'll be this miraculous story as he's able to pull through. If they ultimately fall short, we'll all sit around and say, he shouldn't have played, he wasn't quite right if he's not able to have his usual impact tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, I think you were saying just off here before, it's not just this week, isn't it? So the risk is that beyond the calf, that he just hasn't played a lot of footy since round 21. He's only played one, not even a full game.
Completed a game in 56 days.
Okay, so, but there are some players who you look at the body of work and you trust the professionalism and the team first attitude. He's the captain, so he would not be declaring himself if he had any doubt whatsoever. So you picked, and away you go. As I said, I'd be surprised if we don't see him starting in the centre bounce tomorrow. And the ones that you mentioned that didn't come off, I feel like they were game day decisions. They were right up to the death, weren't they? 2 hours before the game, there was still doubt. And in the end, they made the wrong call. Whereas this one, you did the work on the weekend. You've done work early in the week. You feel good. Okay, tick off and away we go. So, as I said, is he going to be 100%? Of course he's not. He's not going to be, the Brownlow medalist Lockie Neal. But the other part is, when you look at the emergencies, is he going to be better than player 24 through to 28 or 30? I think the answer is yes, isn't it? So, calculate a risk worth taking. And then, of course, Tom Stewart's the hard luck story, isn't he, from Geelong, who credit to Tom, he's taken it as well as you can. He's, again, he's a premiership player, so that maybe that just softens the blow a bit, but he's applied the team-first attitude that's made them such a great footy club over the last 20 years, as we said, and he'll play a role tomorrow, I'm sure.
Sam Reid was subbed out of that preliminary final against Collingwood back in 2022 and then had to go through the fitness test, passed it, and then ultimately broke down and was subbed out in that game in the grand final. And I vividly remember John Longmire talking to him on the boundary line, and you could lip read him clearly when he came off, where John turned to him and said, "You told me you were right." And then ultimately Sam went and sat down, and that was the end of his day. And obviously it was a heartbreaking day for the Sydney Swans. I guess the one asterisk on Lachie Neale, and as much as, you know, it's the here and now and everything else, we have seen in the NBA recently, and it's a different sport, but it is explosive sort of speed at different times. Kevin Durant, Tyrese Halliburton, who both had calf injuries and then played and ultimately snapped their Achilles as a result, and sort of knock wood, obviously that doesn't happen in this case, but that is then has catastrophic impact and a much longer layoff should that occur. But they've got all the information and they've made the decision that they have. Lachie Neale will play in tomorrow's grand final. We'll talk more about the parade itself as we work our way through. We'll get Ballie's reflections on all of that. But for now, let's check in at the press conference. Both the captains and the coaches are there right now ahead of the 2025 AFL Grand Final.
How big a risk is it to play Lachie Neale, do you think?
No risk. We wouldn't play him if there was a risk. He trained heavily on the weekend, and he's done both training sessions this week. If you watched him train, you'd be mad not to pick him. So medical people have ticked him off. So that's what we're doing.
Chris, good morning.
You might have to be specific.
Chris, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Chris, good morning. How much, I guess, moving of the chess pieces do you need to do, missing Tom Stewart, who's obviously such a crucial player for you, and bringing Reece Stanley in?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think we earmarked going into the first final that, you know, a strong preference was to have Reece available, so that's the good news story. And I don't think any team is comfortable going into any game without one of their best players, and Tom's clearly been that for us over a long period of time. So it's a little bit of a juggle, but one that we think we're pretty well prepared for. We've had some good performances without him over the last few years, which in some ways I guess suggests that, or it speaks a little bit to our improvement as a team, as a squad really, because there was a time where if you said to me we didn't have Stewart or we didn't have Dangerfield, that we'd be in big trouble. It just doesn't feel that way now.
Patrick, I'm still with Drew. Patrick, Sean Manor may have let the cat out of the bag. You took over the music pre-game last week and rolled out some Kenny Loggins. Would you contemplate that again on grand final day?
That was a fluke that Kenny Loggins came up. No, I was trying to get a bit of Ace Ventura on, but that goes over the head of most of our players, so most of the time I'm barred from the playlist. But I'll try and commandeer it at some stage.
And just your performance in the preliminary final, one for the ages. How are you feeling this week about going back into battle tomorrow?
Feeling great. Yeah, we're ready. We've had a really enjoyable week. We're well prepared. We had a good training session on Wednesday, and this is why you play the game. So for us, it's been about embracing the week, enjoy every second of it, try not to play the game in your head before the siren sounds on Saturday, but really enjoy the week, and I feel like our guys have done that.
Harris, just how much of it the boost is it?
Wait for a mic, please.
Sorry. Harris, just how much of a boost is it to have your co-captain out there with you again on Saturday?
Yeah, it's obviously massive. I think he's been a huge part of our team for the last 6-7 years, and he's an unbelievable footballer and I think a real spirit lifter within our group. So to see how hard he's worked since that qualifying final to get back and play has been inspirational, and we'll certainly be leaning on him to come in and make an impact.
Brisbane Chris, sorry.
Just call us Fags and Scotty. We'll be right.
Okay, Fags. I know you said before there's no risk with Lachie Neale, but I mean, as a coach, you'd plan for all scenarios going into a game. Do you have a scenario plan where if Lachie does get injured, what do you do?
No. If you did that, you'd have a scenario plan what you'd do if every single player got injured in your team. So, no, that's not something we've talked about.
Fags, just here.
just run us through what happened with Bez yesterday and the selflessness to not play tomorrow. And I guess you had the situation last year with Oscar. I assume you'll be playing for him tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar was pretty easy. He was adamant that he couldn't play. Bez wanted to try, which is natural enough. He's a competitor. There was part of him that didn't want to let his teammates down by not playing, and there was part of him that didn't want to let his teammates down by playing, and then the shoulder pops out and he's out of the game. So in the end, he arrived at that decision himself, and as hard as it is, that's common sense. I mean, his shoulders popped out 2 times in 3 or 4 games, and it will be looser the second time around than it was the first time, and it requires surgery, so not playing.
And just quickly, one more from me, but we've heard a lot of the term chess piece has been talked about ahead of tomorrow. This really does feel like a battle of 2 of the great masterminds in terms of coaching tomorrow. They threw a lot at you a couple of weeks ago, and we heard Josh Dunkley say just before, we saw some secrets a couple of weeks ago. They threw their secrets out a few weeks ago. Do you expect them to throw a lot of the same out again tomorrow, or is it a case of you've got to really expect everything from them, and that's what you've schooled your players in ahead of the game? And to Chris Scott, should you warn Chris Fagan that expect the unexpected tomorrow, because our secrets weren't all the secrets that we threw out a couple of weeks ago?
What do you reckon, mate?
I'm happy to go first here. I think mine will be a bit shorter than yours. Oh, look, we're pretty big believers, in every game, to some extent, standing in isolation. And there's a lot of planning that goes into every game, I would like to think. I wouldn't like to think that we plan harder for the bigger games. But really, it depends on what you get within the game. So clearly we're both at the stage now where we'd be pretty set on, what we'd like to happen within the game, but we have no doubt at all that things will shift within it. So that there are some things that, we talked about last time we played that didn't eventuate, they may this time. But I guess over the journey we've had some pretty good games. So when I reflect on them, that there are some similarities, but there are more differences between those games. And in part that's because of the evolution of the teams. But I also think it just, some games throw up different things, conditions, who starts well. And so arguably the adjustment within the game is more important than the planning.
I think from our perspective, you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins, and we learned a fair bit and got a few reminders a few weeks ago. So we think we'll be a little bit different tomorrow with a few things that we do. But more importantly, we just need to play with more intensity than we did last time. So there's been a focus on that.
Chris Fagan, any chance Lockie could be subbed tomorrow?
I'm not going to talk about the lineups. They come out an hour before the game and we'll leave it until then.
And are you willing to take the underdog tag tomorrow?
The underdog tag?
Yeah,
I think last year when John was in here, we were equal dogs. Well, it was probably around about that this year. We've had some battles. We've played each other a few times. We've both had some wins and both had a loss, so probably pretty equal.
Harris, just from your perspective, can you talk a bit about Jared Berry and what it meant for the team for him to do that selfless decision?
Yeah, he's a great team man, Bez. Does everything he can to support the boys around the club, and I guess to see a little bit of his anxiousness about his shoulder, early yesterday, and then to have that conversation with Fags and put his hand up. It's inspiring, but it's also energising at the same time because he wants to put the team ahead of himself. And we obviously went through a very similar thing last year with O. So we'll certainly be playing for him tomorrow, and he's just going to do everything he can for the next 24 hours to make sure that keeps everyone's energy up and is getting around everyone.
One for Chris Scott, the man 2 seats to your left, Chris, has been instrumental in the last 2 finals for the Lions. Do you have extra work or extra thoughts into keeping him out of the game tomorrow, and does that in turn have something lined up for Mark Blitzars with his extra flexibility now that Reece Stanley is back in your lineup?
Oh, it's hard for us to put in much more work. He's been a pretty good player for a while, so And I think maybe that's the situation both teams find themselves in. I suspect the meetings will be pretty short between now and the game, and even earlier in the week. It wasn't as if we needed to start at the beginning with the threats that Brisbane present. Both teams know each other pretty well. Yeah, I don't think Harris is going to be their secret weapon.
And Chris, this time 3 years ago, you had a decision to make on Max Holmes on this very day. 3 years on, how have you seen and reflected on that moment and seen him handle that and the excitement around him this week to be able to get his chance on the big stage?
Well, I mean, if he hasn't been our best player over those 3 years, he'd have to be very close. No, in fact, I'll make the statement. I think he has been our most important player in the last 3 years. And, I mean, to each their own when it comes to what motivates you. Personally, I tend not to look back. I don't really think about 22 at all, and especially when it comes to Max. And I suspect that once you get to this stage that if you're searching for extra motivation, you're in trouble. I would prefer that, and again, look, if he chooses to, that's his prerogative, but my suggestion would be that he just keeps doing what he has been doing because he's just been so important to us.
Chris Scott,
Craig.
You've followed a different list model to most clubs and what everyone expects to get clubs to the top. Why have you been able to stay at the top with a lot of fringe players or rookie players or blokes from overseas or mature age guys when most clubs can't?
Oh, it's a complicated answer, that one. Probably not. I can't answer it in a thorough way here. The part that I would highlight is that a lot of what we've done has been done out of necessity. It's not as if we sat back and said, we think this is the optimal route for any team to evolve. It's just we played the cards that we've been dealt. So, look, I think a lot gets spoken about with the way... I think culture's an overrated and overused term when describing footy departments these days. But I think the key part is we've never fallen in love with ourselves, and we've never thought that we were better than any other club. We just have come up with a system that we think works for us, and maybe it'd be difficult to replicate because we have a slightly different set of circumstances, and you know, we've got great admiration and respect for what Brisbane have done, but you know, we're both here via different paths, and we respect their path and what they've done. But we do acknowledge that, you know, the way we've done it, we think is unique to us.
A question for both captains. When you consider the journey to the decider this season, what's the thing you're most proud of about your group of players?
Yeah, big fella. I think for us, we've obviously had a few... Sorry, where was that question from? Maybe. We've obviously had a few injuries along the way. We've been able to deal with a bit of adversity as well, which... I think, that's probably what I'm most proud of. I think, a little bit of adversity and just the ability of some of our younger guys to come in and play really important and key roles for us. It's kept us older guys really motivated and excited along the way, seeing their development. But I'd probably say that the most enjoyment part's been the adversity that we've faced and being able to work our way through that.
I think for us it's the ebbs and flows of a season. It's a long year, and being able to break it down into blocks of time, execute when you get into that groundhog, period of the season where you don't feel like you're getting a lot out of games, but it's critical that you keep winning and building on your game, and executing through that period of time, and then building on our game as the season's progressed, and then over the final 6 weeks of the season, controlling what we could, which was how we played, regardless of who we played, and getting better each game. So that's a focus of ours every season. It's harder to execute at times, and then executing in the biggest games under the most amount of pressure. So there is no bigger game than tomorrow. It's a great challenge for both sides, and I'm really proud of our guys for the way that they've attacked the season.
Patrick, over here. Josh Dunkley's gone to a lot of the great contested ball winners, especially after the way you played last week. Is that something you're anticipating, that he could be the man lining up on you tomorrow?
Don't know. I don't spend a stack of time looking at vision during the week, to be totally honest. Some of our guys do. He's obviously he's a wonderful player in his own right. Just, forget the negating part of his game. So we've got to be mindful of that. We've had plenty of meetings this week around how we think they set up, but most of it, to be honest, has been about what we do. And as Chris said before, so much of it is once the game starts to play out, how you react and what you do. So potentially, but we'll just have to see how the first few minutes roll out. I don't think Fags is going to give the game away right now, but that's the beauty of footy, and that's the beauty, I think, of both teams who have been really successful throughout the year, throw up different things to the opposition, and I think that'll be a game within itself in terms of the tactics, obviously.
Fags, you've got 3 first-year players in your team tomorrow. Do you have to speak to them, a word of advice for them, and have you got any concern that, boy, that's a fair bit of youth in our team on such a big occasion?
No, I think we've got 19 players, though, that have played in at least one grand final, so we've got plenty of experience on the big stage, and I'm sure that the teammates of those younger boys are getting around them and preparing them for what's to come tomorrow. Well, I know they have, so I've left it to them and our leadership group to do that. They're all very capable young players, and whatever happens tomorrow, they'll be better for the experience.
Patrick, front right, down here, Fags says before that Neil's no risk at all, but is there any incentive, if at all, for the group to potentially run him around or test him out a little bit with the calf?
Yeah, definitely, but he's a pretty good player. He hasn't won 2 Brownlows and multiple Australians, best and fairest. So the guy's done it all. So we're really respectful of just how bloody good he is. And even, didn't complete the whole game last time and he finished with mid-30s. So he's an absolute star. We're mindful of how good he can be. But it's not just Lockie, it's others as well, obviously. But looking at the vision, he looked pretty good the other day. So our guys are going to have to be at their best, both inside the contest and outside of it.
Good luck to both teams. This question's for Chris Scott. Just back on the changes, 1 in, 1 out, but they're significant ones. You get your ruckman back who hasn't played either final, and obviously you never plan not to have Tom Stewart. How much do those 2 changes change what you can do? Like not having someone like Tom who's such a significant part of that back line. Are there things you can't do? Do you have to plan differently without him?
Yeah, I've never subscribed to the theory when one of your best players goes out that it's just the next man up. They're impossible to replace, like for like. So we'll think about it a little bit differently. It's not to say that we don't think we have other options. We do, but that's a challenge. And then the ruck one. Look, we just see that as a positive. Like we think we've got. We've probably built our team over the years, at least the last sort of 4 or 5 years, with a view to having some flexibility and different levers to pull. Tom's a net negative in that respect, but Reece is the positive that sort of goes some way to evening up that ledger. But again, I'll reference my previous answer. But I think we have an idea of how we'd like the game to play out, but fully aware that best laid plans often change, and we feel well prepared for that, even without Tom.
Pat, down here. Mark Blicavs told us a few minutes ago that he is certain you have a second big game in a row in you, but he was in jest saying he's not sure you have a third. How much fuel is in your tank heading into tomorrow?
I've got as much as what Fags has got, and I reckon the fire's still in the belly, isn't it, Fags? Yep. So I'm as good to go as what Fags is good to go.
You write me off, don't you?
I'm not writing you off, but my greys they're channeling yours. I'm worried about that.
To Fags and Harris, just on Josh Dunkley, 5 grand finals, 10 years, obviously he's a true warrior, but could you talk through a little bit? He trained away from the group this week. How's he going? And his preparation's been a little disrupted, but I'm sure you're preparing for him to be fine.
Yeah, he had a lighter day on Tuesday, but that's pretty normal for him. He throws his body around in games, and often he's not quite right by Tuesday. He did most of the session yesterday. He'll play tomorrow. He's in good shape.
just as well, just his importance to this team. Like, he's a true barometer of how you guys go in the midfield.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a fantastic finals player for the way that he goes about it. And there's no mistake that, you know, he's been at our club for 3 years and we've made 3 grand finals. He's made a huge difference to our team in terms of his performance on field and the culture off the field. He's a pretty demanding sort of a guy, and he sets a great example.
Last two, Jack, Drew.
Patrick, out here. This time last year, grand final parade day, do you remember what your mindset was, how you were feeling, and are you looking forward to getting out there today again?
Well, I was watching Harris in the back of a ute. Envious watching it, yeah, absolutely. It's being fortunate enough to experience before. There's nothing like it. It's a wonderful feeling that you're in the biggest game of the year and you're a live chance and it's all ahead of you. So, yeah, it's about the possibilities of what if, because as incredible a day as it can be, and everyone up here's experienced both sides of the ledger, right? It can be equally devastating. So I think that's the incredible part about sport. It's why it means so much, because the highs are high and the lows are equally as low. So, yeah, I remember watching it. You're envious, absolutely. But I don't spend too much time once a game's done. It's like, well, you can't affect the result any more than that. There's no point dwelling on it. So it was get away, refresh, and then reset to what we could potentially achieve this year. And it's all ahead of us now.
Scotty in the middle. So I know it's not all about one player, but Bailey Smith comes on board this year. He's added so much colour to the season. We've enjoyed watching him in the hoops. Like, how crucial has he been as an addition to your team to help you take one step further this season and get into a grand final?
Yeah, look, he's really helped. I think it's a good way to describe it. I haven't heard it described as adding colour before. I'm going to use that as my own, because I think it is a good description. He's and I think we, to an extent, knew that he was going to change us in a lot of ways. We, without sort of giving away sort of too much about the way our football department works, so I would describe the group of players, even if you think back to 22 for a minute, you go through those players, and if you know them, they're a big group of introverts within that team. Bailey's not one of them now, but the players have really embraced him, and I guess it's one of our core tenets that, and again, it sort of speaks to what I alluded to earlier. We don't think we've cracked the code. There's only one thing we know for sure, and that's that things will be different, and we will be different next year, maybe even next pre-season. And a big reason for that is the players that either evolve organically or come in from other clubs. And Bailey, he's obviously helped us on the field. I think that's plain to see. But he's been good for a guy who, I'm approaching 50, and I've never subscribed to this idea that 23-year-olds want to be best mates with 50-year-olds. But he has lightened things up a little bit, and hopefully we're having an impression on him, but he's certainly having an impression on us, and in particular me as well.
Chris Scott, the final word there at the pre-grand final press conference just completed, and unsurprisingly fielding questions about Bailey Smith. What a year he's had, about to play in his second grand final, but his first, of course, in Geelong colours. He's one of 11 Cats playing tomorrow that hasn't tasted premiership success. There were 12 there from 2022, which was only 3 seasons ago, so it's pretty significant turnover. A couple of things out of that press conference. Max Holmes, our most important player over the last 3 years. Chris Scott was keen to make that point. And the equal dogs line came out again from Chris Fagan. He was asked it last year. He said, we're not underdogs, we're the equal dogs. And he's rolled it out again this year against this All-Star Cats lineup. Corbin Middlemass and Luke Ball at the Footy Fest at Yarra Park. And what did you pick up out of all that, Paulie?
I thought they were all great. Aren't they? Great statesmen of the game, those four, Geelong. And again, no secret as to their success in recent times. It starts at the top, doesn't it? I talk about culture. What's culture about? What's people? It's the people who drive it. It's a living and breathing thing, day in, day out, and you can just see you get a little insight there, don't you, with the four leaders across the two clubs as to why these clubs have been so successful. Really enjoyed listening to them. And, yeah, interesting, isn't it? I mean, Josh Dunkley got a big mention, didn't he? Then Bailey Smith, two players that left the Western Bulldogs. It's amazing, isn't it? How... and in different reasons and different scenarios, with both have flourished, and as Chris said there, added colour to their new clubs, and there are different ways to get there. I enjoy listening to Chris when he talks about the fact that yes, they are the envy of other clubs. They seem to have cracked the code, but they haven't. And one thing's for sure, the way this game moves, that in 2 weeks' time they'll look different again, and that's an amazing stat actually from only 3 years ago. Yeah. Yes, they had some senior players clearly and some older players, but nearly half the team 3 years ago will take the field tomorrow in the new young colours.
You compare that to Brisbane, there's only 4 guys playing in their first grand final. It was only last year. 6 of them haven't won a premiership. So in Darcy Gardner and Oscar McInerney's case, they played in the losing grand final in 23, but then missed in 24 last year. Obviously, one through injury, one through selection. And for Geelong, there are 11 that have yet to win a flag. 10 first-timers on grand final day tomorrow, rolling out for the Cats.
Equal Dogs, you like Equal Dogs?
Loved it.
Go on, tell the story.
We got a group chat named Equal Dogs. It was a great line last year. I'd never heard it before. So we got the naming rights on our group chat, and I just realised it's stayed there for 12 months.
12 months on.
Hasn't been changed in 12 months.
It's lit up again.
Lit up again.
I reckon someone needs to get a greyhound and call it Equal Dogs.
Equal Dogs. It's a great line.
If not a horse.
It's Chris Fagan. He's got to get that patented. There's no doubt about that. We're at the grand final parade. The official parade ceremony is only moments away from beginning. We'll bring you all the colour from that, courtesy of Fox Footy. They'll be chatting with the players in the back of the ute, so we'll bring some of that to you. Lee Naylor's going to join us, 2-time Olympian. Yeah. I should say, Dr. Lee Naylor, OAN. So she's a extremely credible figure in the world of Australian sport, but today she's also mum to Max Holmes, as she is every other day.
So
mother of. We'll chat to her.
Still. She looks like she could run at the Olympics in a couple of years.
Looks a proper athlete still. The 2-time Olympian from Atlanta and Sydney, Lee Naylor's going to join us. Mark Knight's going to drop by for a chat, and we'll also speak to Robbie Neal as well, the father of Lockie Neal, all the way from Kybe Bolite in regional South Australia. What a week of emotions it would have been, I'm sure, for the whole fam in the Neal household.
From Dad.
Yes.
Ever thought of that?
Yeah.
Can we get a look at Dad's calves? Or?
We can ask where he's inherited those from. Interestingly, tomorrow, 2 Camerons playing, obviously not related, Charlie and Jeremy. Yep. 2 Neils, Shannon and Lockie Neal, not related. We do have some relations, though, rolling around in the grand final tomorrow. Obviously, both the Ashcroft brothers will be there, so there's just something for us to keep in mind as the afternoon continues, but a few namesakes rolling around in Saturday's grand final. You'll hear it all on ABC Sport. It's not just us two here today. Bally, Clint Wilden and Lauren Borden are out and about. And we might just check in with Loz, firstly, and see what she's up to. Good morning, Loz.
Lining the parade route, I've been able to find 3 young Geelong fans, Hamish, Archie and Finn. You stood out, boys, with the signs that you have down here. Can you tell me what they say?
Mine says, "Come on, Cats, and do it for Stuart."
Let's go, Cats. And Paddy, you're Dangerfield. You're Dangerfield.
How good was Patrick Dangerfield's performance last week in the
really
prelim?
Good.
Do you think he can do it again tomorrow?
Definitely.
And how nervous were you, Archie, when you saw Tom Stewart go down? You knew he's not going to be out there tomorrow.
I thought it was game over, but we held strong and came back.
So where are you going to watch the big game from tomorrow?
From home.
From home?
Yeah.
Yep.
And who's the Norm Smith medalist? Who are you?
Smith.
That was pretty quick. You didn't even need to think about that. Well, thank you for your time and enjoy the game tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you. Go Cats.
He's a popular guy, isn't he, Bally? They love Bailey Smith.
Oh, yeah, they do. There'll be some mullets and some headbands getting around today, I'm sure of it. Maybe some of those Oakley Sunnies too that he thought might work on the red carpet on Monday night. I'm not sure they did, if I'm being honest. They were pretty ordinary. No, not for me. Mind you, I once wore snakeskin shoes on the red carpet. My first Brownlow, so I can't talk. But anyway,
did it get the thumbs up or the thumbs down?
Big thumbs down that one. Yeah. We got beaten. We got knocked out in the prelim 2 nights earlier. I hadn't been home and had enough sleep to make a considered decision, and didn't have someone with the sense to talk me out of that, unfortunately.
Incredibly, now he's played in 2 preliminary finals, so 23-4 in 2021. That was when the Bulldogs beat the Power, and then he backed it up with 36-1 in the prelim the other night.
Yeah, he was terrific, and just his. Yeah, and we'll talk about the game in a little bit more detail, I'm sure, in the next hour or so. But yeah, that does loom, doesn't it? That running power, and we'll talk to Lee Naylor about her son and his running power as well. It's going to be the key thing, isn't it? I heard, and I'm sure everyone by now has heard the champion data stat around Geelong's performance in red time, in time on, in quarters. It's just extraordinary. And I think a lot of that is down to their athletic profile. Not just those two, but Dempsey and those high half forwards, their running power is just extraordinary. So it's no secret Brisbane know the challenge that's coming at them, and it'll just be interesting to see how tactically they're able to deal with that, because that's not a one-off thing now. That's a serious pattern that they're going to have to try and counteract tomorrow.
Clint Wildon's not too far from us on the concourse at the MCG.
So out the front of the MCC members entrance here, and there's people queuing for grand final day, which I find remarkable. Bless them all. What's your name, sir?
Gary.
Gary, how long have you been here for?
Got here about 6:30 this morning.
That is a long trek before grand final day. Why do you do it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we go in the grand final ballot. If you don't get tickets, you come and camp out. Been doing it for years because I keep missing out on the ballot. So, yeah, the people here, you see the same people every year. We all get on fine. It's just a great atmosphere.
How many grand finals is this for you, Gary?
Well, I've been a member for 55 years.
Member of the MCC?
Yeah. So I reckon at least 30 of those.
Do you follow either of the teams, the Cats or the Lions? Who do you follow?
Tigers.
And yet you're still here?
Yeah, well, most people that are here, there's only one person here at the moment that actually follows Geelong. There's not many of us here at the moment, but, it doesn't matter. You come along, show your colours.
There's a few here, Gary. How many people do you think will be here overnight?
Oh, it'll be packed right out there.
So you're talking a couple of hundred?
Up in the cattle yards. Oh, probably, hundreds and hundreds, because it's all zigzag.
Yep.
Overnight, by the time we wake up in the morning and it's light, it will be like an evacuation centre. You go, where'd they all come from?
So what are the rules when it comes to camping out here at the MCC? What are the sort of the unwritten rules about it?
Just don't misbehave. Have fun. They don't mind if you have a drink. You can go away for a bit, as long as you don't sort of abuse the rules, because you're not supposed to bring stuff here and then just go, look, I'll see you tomorrow morning, which does happen. But yeah, if you do the right thing, then no one has any problems. We all get along.
Well, good luck, Gary. What's your name over here?
G'day, I'm Gemma.
Hey, Gemma, you're obviously able to leave and grab something to eat, which is important. So how often can you sneak away from the queue?
Whenever you need to, bathroom stops. I've had a shower this morning at 3 a.m, so that was nice. So it was a bit cold, so I thought I'd go warm myself up.
So Gary says he's been doing this for, you've been a member for 55 years and been going to over 30 grand finals. How many times have you think you've had to camp out? Number 3 in the queue today.
Number 3, camping out, I think I've only done it maybe 5 or 6 times, and I've been a member since 2002. But I actually live at the Gold Coast, so I fly here, and I have to bring all my things in a suitcase, so that's always a challenge. Hence the hiking gear. So I have a stretcher. I don't have...
There's swags here.
And I have a hiking chair. So very limited. I don't have a sleeping bag, and I have a jacket. Hence why I was so cold last night.
I'm impressed. You're a Collingwood supporter. The next person along is a North Melbourne supporter. Yes. So if you're from the Gold Coast, are you leaning towards Brisbane in this one?
Hell no. Although I don't like the Cats either, don't get me wrong.
So then the obvious person at home would go, well, why are you here then?
Oh, because it's so much fun. So I came in 2023 when obviously Collingwood had a very good year. It's now becoming a ritual. I have now planned that I will have this week off forever, and I will fly down, and depending on... So I came down Tuesday and I've checked the line. No one was in line. I was like, great, I get to go back to my hotel and have a good night's sleep. So I did that Tuesday night, and I did that Wednesday night, and then yesterday there was people in line, and I went, okay, let's commit.
I think you're all slightly mad, but I'm also very impressed. Good luck. I hope the night doesn't get too cold, and best of luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Gee, that's a great insight. Thanks to Clint Wilden for all of that. It wigs me out every year, the MCC members and the people that stay overnight. I saw a report on the news last night. The first guy in line this year was a guy named Steve Tucker, his wife Jess and their 3-year-old daughter, first in the queue on Thursday, camping out overnight. Who do you reckon he barracks for?
Collingwood.
Why would you camp out overnight for multiple nights to be first in the queue?
Tradition, mate. Can't break tradition.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
No, I wouldn't do it. I had my annual little trot around the precinct this morning, and there are a couple of tents set up. It's obviously pretty early, isn't it? There'll be more and more join them today, but that's great, isn't it? And even just listening to the Gold Coast supporter, you know, Clint, asking why you're here. Well, just because it's so much fun, and I think that sort of sums it up beautifully, doesn't it? But why it's so good now this week, and why the brilliant final, that final hurdle, so hard to jump, is because this week is about celebrating footy, isn't it? You know, the season that was, but just footy in general. And it's come one, come all. There'll be colours from all different jumpers around here today, which is just terrific.
Corbin Middlemass alongside Luke Ball, the only player in the history of the game that played in 4 grand finals in 3 years. Of course, starting with Collingwood in 2009, twice in 2010 with the Magpies, and of course the following year in 2011. He's experienced this before 3 times over the grand final parade, which I can tell you is officially underway. So the umpires will be leading the queue in all of that, and also Matt Rowell will be part of it as well, the Brownlow medalist from Monday night, which means if we have a Monday night Brownlow medal, you can lock in the news cycle on Tuesday. Is all the talk about, should we strip the umpires of the rights and all the outrage on the back of the Brownlow medal. What did you make of it during the week, Bally?
Well, our man Chambo's been in overdrive, hasn't he? He's had some extra work and extra things to answer this week. But, I mean, my first thought, I think we've generally landed, when the steam goes out of it a bit, that there have been forever and a day or since it's been around the Brownlow medal, some quirks to the award.
Yep.
I think the Wanganeen Miller one was the one that stood out, wasn't it? And look, sometimes... you know, it was pointing in the right direction. I liked Rowell. I thought Dacos would win. And in the end, it fizzed out a bit, given that he'd sewed it up with 2 rounds to go. But sometimes guys just take the attention of the umpires, don't they? I think we should give them the stats. I think whether they want them or not, I think they should have that available, because it's just, there's so much going on in a game of footy and so much for them to worry about, to expect them within an hour or 2 hours after the game to come up with a definitive 3-2-1. But sometimes I feel like it is definitive, and the St Kilda Melbourne game, they might have missed.
That was a miss.
Yeah, that might have been a miss.
We took the scenic
didn't affect the result.
Correct. And we took the scenic route to get there, but really there were 5 guys that could have won the award leading in. I think everyone felt like it was either going to be Nick Dacos, Bailey Smith, Jordan Dawson, or one of the Gold Coast boys, and ultimately one of them won it. And I think there were 4 of the top 5 were those 5. So we got there. It was just a different way, obviously, in how we thought about it. It reminds me a little bit of the sweet science, like in boxing, for example, where it's such a subjective sport and the judges put in their cards, and even if the cards are spot on, at the end of the fight, it's almost part of the experience that everyone sits back and goes, it's all corrupt to the judges and everything else. It feels a little bit like that with the Brownlow every year.
It would have been a bit boring if Nick had gone on and won it by 10 votes, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And the reality is, if you go back throughout the history of the game, there would have been moments in rounds across the way where you thought, how did that guy get the vote? I went through some numbers during the week. It's fascinating to see the correlation between the more umpires and the higher the vote count for the winner. So
it's not more votes, is there?
It's incredible.
Same amount of votes.
And there's a theory behind this, but basically what's happened over a period of time here is with a 2-umpire system, the Brownlow medal winner averaged 1 vote per game.
Yeah.
With 3 umpires, the winner averaged 1.29 votes per game. And with 4 umpires, the winner has averaged 1.65 votes per game. So generally the theory is here, the more people you have in the conversation, the more likely you are to form a consensus around the known player. So the guy who's the brand name player that everyone knows and so on and so forth. As you know, the rise of media around the game and the stars are bigger stars than they ever have been. And so the more people we put in the room, say back in the day there was only 2 of us and we thought, you know what, we actually thought today the best player on the ground might have been Archie Roberts. But if all of a sudden there's 4 of us in the conversation, we go, you know what, it was probably Zach Merritt.
What about?
And we give it to the guy that we sort of lean to that is more the established star.
Okay.
So
That's why I only ever got one, Corb. So
I think so.
I'll take a bit of comfort.
I think
with
too
that,
many
to be honest.
umpires. Maybe in the 2 umpire era you would have had a few more. We've got people on site, or we're here, lucky enough to be here at the
Let's
Footy
talk
Fest
to a few.
at Yarra Park. Why not? Sam from Perth has put the headset on. Hello, Sam.
Morning, Corbs. Morning, Bolly. Yeah, it's good to be here.
How'd you get here from Perth?
Coming off of an hour or 2 of sleep, so forgive me if I'm not quite the
You did look a bit.
sharpest this morning.
Can we get him a coffee? You didn't look a bit dozy before. I just said, can we wake our man up? But anyway, you're here now.
Yeah,
Must feel good.
Here in one piece, and so off the red eye at Perth last night. Only got my ticket yesterday at lunchtime.
Awesome.
Wow! And then booked the flight that afternoon, and here I am this morning.
How are you a Lions supporter coming all the way from Perth?
Great question. I grew up in Adelaide.
Well, that makes sense.
And started playing Auskick in 2001, 2002, 2003.
Yep.
So the old young fella bandwagon, get all the merchandise from your grandma story. And then sort of stuck with him for the last sort of 20, 25 years. So
that's elite.
Yeah. Do you see? So that widely considered one of the greatest teams of all time.
Absolutely.
I saw a package last night with Jonathan Brown and Alistair Lynch talking about there are some similarities and synergies between the current team. They've obviously got a bit of a way to go to reach the heights of that early 2000s team. Do you see that as a supporter who follows them closely?
Absolutely. I think we've gone deep in finals for the last 6 or 7 years. It's already a little bit of a dynasty from my perspective. And seeing us 3 grand finals in a row, win or lose today, we've got one under the belt already. And I think there's so much young talent in this team. I think we've got 8 under 22 still in our best 18, which is fantastic for our future, not just getting to 3 grand finals in a row.
Yeah, the Fab Four back then: Voss, Ackermanis,
Yes.
Lappin and Black. Is there a Fab Four in tomorrow's team?
Wow, it's hard to say, isn't it? Like, I think we had 5 All-Australians this year again, so, take your pick of 4 of them. But it's just great seeing so many legends from the early 2000s in the commentary, like Brownie and Lynchy, and then so many of those legends in the coaches box these days. Yeah, exactly. It's just good to see that legacy lives on.
Sam, appreciate you dropping by.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers,
Sam from Perth, Brisbane fan, who's made the trip across on the red eye with us on ABC Sport, our coverage of the 2025 Grand Final Parade. All right, courtesy of Fox Footy, let's kick it out to the parade route, and Matt Rao is leading things off, the 2025 Brownlow medalist.
Matty, how are you, mate? It's been a massive year for you and probably an even bigger week. How's the experience?
It's been a great experience. It's been a pretty surreal week, so pretty cool to be a part of the Grand Final Parade,
You would have done this as a spectator over the years, I would imagine?
I've actually never been to one of the parades, so always loved watching the Grand Finals growing up, but never actually been a part of the parade, so, cool.
On the back of your year and you've had the taste of finals, would an experience like this would drive you even more to get back here as a player?
Yeah, I wish I was sitting here ready to run out tomorrow, so that's what you want to be doing as a player, and getting a taste for it this year, definitely want to be a part of it more.
Oh, you're doing everything right as an individual and as a club. We'll see you here soon, no doubt.
Yeah, thanks, Lynchy.
Matt Rao speaking with Alistair Lynch on the parade route a short time ago. So the parade will make its way through Melbourne and Olympic Park into the Birrarung Maar and then over the William Barrick Bridge and into the MCG Yarra Park precinct, which is where we are at the moment. The birthplace of our great game. It will conclude on the Footy Fest stage, which is, 100 metres away from us. Where both the grand final teams and the Premiership Cup will be presented just before noon.
Absolutely, and it is good. I like to point around the amount of, or the influence of the Brisbane Line. I say old, from 20 years ago, isn't it? It really is, and that's often happens, doesn't it? When there's success in our game, it sort of breeds success. So Chris Scott, we know about his record, and Jonathan Brown, who's out there in the parade, Alistair Lynch. So it is terrific. And then obviously the Geelong greats from not so long ago as well. So you mentioned it off the top, Corb. Two modern day powerhouses.
It's a great precinct. It's one of the great days on the calendar. There are Lots of Brisbane Lions and Geelong colours, but there's colours of every single team in the competition. It's a great day to come along, wear your footy colours, be here at the precinct. They've got the Dodgem cars this year, which are painted in the colours of all 18 teams. So first time that we've seen that. There's additional trains and tram shuttles right throughout to try and support the event. So it was, as we touched on off the top of the broadcast, we haven't always done it here, but it's been a great addition in recent times. Corbin Middlemass and Luke Ball, Clint Wilden and Lauren Borden out and about the grand final parade on ABC Sport in 2025. All right, the competing teams will catch up with a couple of the Cats. Cameron Mooney, first of all, on the parade route.
Reece, couldn't get sick of this. You must have the best hamstrings on the planet right now, mate.
I certainly do, mate. They couldn't feel better right now.
Mate, tell us about the week and the build-up so far. Just tell us about this day.
Oh, it's an incredible week, mate. We just try and lean into it. Obviously went through it before. We've been through it a couple of times, so been able to lean into the week and embrace it all and enjoy it with the kids, the family, and all the fans is unreal, mate.
What does it mean to have the kids around? Because it is special, because they go through so much with you week in and year out and all of those type of things. To have them in the car with you is pretty amazing.
It is, mate. It's a special time for them. Like they're at the ages now where they'll remember all this sort of stuff. So 22. Huddy here was in my wife's belly, so it's a bit of a full circle. He's here now in the back of the ute with me. It's pretty special.
All right, mate. Good luck on Saturday, mate. Good luck.
So that's Reece Stanley from the Geelong Football Club about to play in his third grand final. And he probably felt like at the start of the final series when he did his hamstring after the round 24 game against Richmond that might be it for him in this season. And yet he gets the opportunity at the expense of Tom Stewart to come back into this team.
Become a little bit of a final specialist, hasn't he? A little bit of was it Bo McDonald back in or right. Jamie Charman maybe for those from those Lions teams who didn't seem a hell of a lot through the year, but was able to get himself right and he's picked with a lot of confidence and
Clark Keating and all those blokes.
That's right, Clark Keating, that's the one I was thinking of course, Clark Keating, not Bo McDonald, but
Bo was young at the time. He was more at the start of his career, wasn't he?
No, but he'll play a significant role tomorrow, obviously with the dual ruck combination of McInerney and Fort from the Lions, and albeit Blitzards did a terrific job, and he adds a different element to it. And I think we'll see Blitzards potentially through the ruck at certain periods throughout the day, but he just adds to that flexibility from this Geelong team. And old teammate of mine, Reece, started at St Kilda, so incredible that he's been able to continue to plug away and have a fantastic career. It's a credit to him.
We'll stay with the Cats. Back to Cam Mooney. He's got Sam DeConing with him.
Just talk us through this right now. It's pretty special. You've been through it a couple of times now, mate, but how good is it?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Obviously, did it once, but I'm just trying to take it all in.
When you think about Brisbane on tomorrow, from a defensive point of view, what are you thinking?
Just do our job. It's pretty simple, just treat it like another game. Obviously a bit more pressure and stress towards it, but just go out there, play your role well, and that's all you can do.
All right, JK, good luck, brother.
Thanks.
Sam DeConing, we spoke to him on AFL Saturday last week, so one of 10 kids. And he said before the 2022 grand final, he couldn't give away his allocation. I thought, how many tickets do these guys get? They must get 50 tickets or whatever to the grand final. I worked out during the week, they get 8 tickets. 2 complimentary and 6 you can pay for on top of that. I don't know if it was different in your day, Bally. But he couldn't give away his 8 tickets last time they played in the grand final. Keeping in mind his sibling is Tom DeConing, who would get 2. Each player gets 2 tickets on an AFL list. This year, I understand, it's been a bit more competition. The family's cottoned on a little bit more. Bally, pardon the pun, that this is a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal.
And so, as a result, they've struggled a little bit to try and give them away.
21-year-old, I think he'd only played 24 games, or it was his 24th game in 2022, and probably, as we spoke to him about after the prelim, we probably thought, okay, well, this will just continue to roll on. And as we said, sometimes that early success isn't a great teacher. So you get the sense that he's a lot more dialed in. A few years on now, and some challenges as well. Had a really challenging year last year. Has bounced back pretty well this year and has been in pretty good form. So, you're right. It's interesting, as he said, they're not a footy family, but I feel like they'll all be there supporting him tomorrow.
So he was injured, wasn't he, leading into last year's final series, and then got back and wasn't picked for the business end of the season, and ultimately sat out from the preliminary final as a result. Alistair Lynch is also on the parade route as well. He's with the Brisbane Lions, understandably, and with their number one.
Hey, Kai, how are you, mate? Logan, now, you had a rare haircut last week.
Yeah.
What's this, and what's the inspiration for it?
Not much, just a mohawk. So, what do you reckon? You like it, Lynchy, or not?
Oh, pretty sharp, mate. The way you're going, just run with whatever you think. How's life for you at the moment? 23, missed out with a collarbone, premiership last year, back here again. You must be wrapped.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Obviously, it's been a great few years for the club, and it's really excited to be back. And yeah, it's great to be playing again.
Speaking of haircuts, so Brownie's going to get, what, that version or the other version if you win?
I reckon Brownie should get this. What do you reckon?
I reckon we'll go with that one. Well done. All the best, mate.
That's Kai Lohmann, 4 goals in last year's grand final. It was a breakout game for him. And as he touched on there, leading into the semi-final, he's clearly not superstitious. He was getting an undercut done, as it was the hairdo that the young man's been rolling with. Went a little too high on the undercut, and he thought, this isn't going to work. So he shaved the whole thing off before a big-time final, and sharp look, it's worked for him.
Working, yeah, I like it. It's a good look. Yeah, I actually think Bailey should do that himself, Bailey Smith. It might be too iconic now, that mullet, but no, he was super, wasn't he, last year? He really, the Swans kicked the first 2 goals of the game, and it was really, the midfield, but then Lohmann getting on the end of it. He kicked two in a row to really light the fire for the Lions, and ended up with 4, as you said. So yeah, he's another key player. And you do feel like, given their their inexperience in terms of their key posts forward of the ball, that those mid-sized players who are quite mercurial, I mean, he can take a big mark, can't he? And then also when the ball hits the ground. So you do feel like it's going to have to be Lohmann and Rayner, Charlie Cameron, even Ard Kalachi himself, who are going to have to impact the scoreboard tomorrow, whilst also keeping those running half-backs for the Lions in check.
Our coverage of the 2025 AFL Grand Final Parade right here on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass and the Premiership Pie. Luke Ball, a man who played in 4 Grand Finals in just 3 seasons.
A bit of drizzle, Corb, actually.
It is just spitting a little bit, isn't it?
Not really coming to the party, Melbourne. All week it's just been a little bit bleak, hasn't it?
Yep.
Not really sort of coming to the party. Forecast is okay tomorrow, which is the most important thing, but anyway, not dampening the spirits.
Today, risk of thunderstorms, showers in the afternoon, so we were hopeful to get through the parade period without any rain, but it is just spitting at the moment at Yarra Park. Tomorrow, 20 degrees with a low of 9, so mostly sunny during the day is the forecast for Grand Final Day.
Good for footy.
All right, back out onto the parade road. Cam Mooney's with Ollie Dempsey.
All right, Ollie. Mate, how good is this? I know you did it last year as a rising star, but to do it now, hopefully as a premiership player in 24 hours, that's pretty amazing.
Oh, pretty epic. Way better than last year, obviously. Losing in the prelim, but it feels much better to be here with all the Cats fans.
When you think about your junior career, playing basketball, all those type of things, you must sit back now and go, I made the right choice.
Definitely. This whole week I've been like, wow, I definitely made the right choice to come back to footy, and very blessed to be here and loving it.
Tell us about training during the week. How's the atmosphere been?
So good. We had open training Monday. There was heaps of Cats fans there, and got through a main session Wednesday and ready to go today.
All right, Ollie. Good luck, brother.
Ollie Dempsey, the rising star from last year. And she just continues on the up and up, doesn't he? 25 and 3 goals last time they met. And I saw an interesting stat during the week that 23 of his 31 goals, so a huge percentage of them, Bally, have come inside 30 metres, which just speaks to, again, his ability to go goal line to goal line. And there's that fat side winger, and he covers a lot of ground at speed.
Yeah, just another one with that running power that we were speaking about earlier. And he was terrific in that first qualifying final. They didn't have an answer for him, the Lions, so they won't get beaten by what they know again. I think Levi Ashcroft spent a fair bit of time out in the wing in that qualifying final. You wouldn't think that would happen again. I do feel like you have to put a bit of time into him with someone who's a bit of a like for like, who can test him out going the other way. You know what he's going to do going forward, and someone who can compete with him aerially. But yeah, he's certainly one that a fair few are sniffing around for in terms of a Norm Smith medal pick tomorrow. He's obviously the rising star winner last year, and he's gone on with it this year.
We might just check in again with Lauren Porton here. We've got a join coming up, so we'll bring you more from the players in the back of the utes, courtesy of Fox Footy. Plus, we'll have a couple of feature guests. Mark Knight's going to join us, the cartoonist from the Herald Sun, as what has become really a collector's item, the Premiership poster, which will be on sale again. All funds going to the Good Friday appeal, the Royal Children's Hospital, of course, and also Lee Naylor and Robbie Neal, the mum of Max Holmes and the dad of Lockie Neal, to join us throughout the broadcast. Lauren Borden is out and about with some Brisbane fans. Loz.
Lining the parade route, I've been able to find Waylon. He's absolutely decked out in Brisbane Lions merchandise. How come you're a Brisbane fan in the first place?
Well, I'm a Brisbane fan because my family is goes for Brisbane, and two, I also really like the players. They're very kind and such. That's why I got all these signatures. Yeah,
you do. You have a lot of signatures on the back.
They're also a very good team. They've gone 3 grand finals in a row now.
It's incredible. So, I mean, how did you enjoy the last 2 years of success for yourself? Because how old are you?
I'm 13, turning 14 this year.
So you wouldn't remember the early 2000s, but it would be amazing to be watching the last couple of years of Brisbane success.
Yeah. It's been very good to watch the last 3 years for them. They've done really well. Getting 3 grand finals in a row is really nice.
And 31 on your back, is Harris Andrews your favourite player?
Yeah, he's my favourite.
And what about the signatures that you've got on the back? Who's your favourite of all the signatures? There's a lot on there.
Oh, definitely Harris Andrews.
He's a good player and a great captain, so good luck tomorrow. Hope it all goes well for the Lions supporters out there.
Go Lions!
Lauren Borden out and about with a couple of happy Brisbane fans, and what bang they've got for that buck in recent years. A third straight grand final for the Brisbane Lions, looking to defend their premiership and standing in their way, the greatest team of all, Geelong. Our coverage of the parade continues.
When you know, you know. Footy final season. Live it daily.
He strikes it, likes it, kicks the goal.
ABC NRL Daily, ABC AFL Daily. Search for those podcasts on the ABC Listen app.
ABC Sport.
Live from Yarra Park, this is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL Grand Final Parade.
Things are starting to look a bit different now when you're in the Grand Final Parade. Pretty exciting feeling.
It's a great week. It's great to be a part of, and pretty lucky to be in this parade. And hopefully a good game of footy, but I don't want it too close because I don't have the heart to handle it.
You can never quite prepare yourself for the amount of people that are here and the amount of support that we get.
This is the AFL Grand Final Parade.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio, and on the ABC Listen app.
There's a parade inside our city since 1977. It has been part of the grand final build-up, the last major event before the game proper, and so it is again in 2025. We're at the Footy Fest at Yarra Park right here on ABC Sport. My name's Corbin Middlemass. Alongside me, the Premiership Pie, Luke Ball, a man who played in 4 grand finals in just 3 seasons. Great to have you with us, Bally, on what is an overcast day. It is also a day in which it's just spitting somewhat, but it is always a special day on the AFL calendar.
It is, Corby. Thanks for having me again. I absolutely appreciate being here. It's a special day. It's a special week, isn't it, in the build-up to the first bounce at 2:30 tomorrow. And it's just great to see so many people out enjoying it. It is a celebration of footy, this, isn't it? We know the game will come tomorrow, but not just Lions and Cats colours everywhere. There's Bombers colours, Corb. There's Hawks colours. There's Pies colours. They've got over the prelim final losses, and they're all here enjoying the celebrating what was another great year of AFL footy.
There's so many famous stories about the parade and Ducks and Drakes and everything else. The Scott twins going back to 2001 where they decided to skip the parade and went and played golf at the National, and no one would have ever known if not for the fact that Chris Scott won the comp and his name was printed in the paper the next day as a result. Take us back there, Bally. When you were sitting in the back of the ute and you were able to do it on 3 different occasions, what came to mind?
Well, this was prior to the route being changed to here, which, I'm a little bit sort of flat now looking at it. It should have always been here, shouldn't it? This is where all roads lead to tomorrow, and utilising all this wonderful space outside the ground. So it was the old route up St Kilda Road and then into Collins Street up to the building there on Spring Street. So I remember one of the years in particular was wet and raining, so we weren't out the back of the ute. We were in behind closed doors, and I was sitting with Michael Gardner, whose legs were up around his neck because we were jammed to the back of the car. And then, I mean, it's a great part of the week. Obviously, it's one of the things that you look forward to in terms of getting over that final hurdle, the prelim final. And I think I think what we hear now from players and what clubs are getting better at is just embracing it. Looking back now, I was probably let the anxiety and the nerves start building up from today, which is just ridiculous because, you've still got a long time before that ball bounces. So players nice and relaxed, embracing it, enjoying it, big smiles and waving to the thousands of fans that have come out to see them.
Hopefully family members are relaxed as well, which brings us to our next very special guest, Dr. Lee Naylor, OAM, but mother of Max Holmes, ahead of the grand final tomorrow and every other day, I'm sure as proud as any achievement. Two-time Olympian. Lee, appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, and I'm just a mum today, probably a nervous mum. I'm getting more nervous as the time goes. I mean, you're trying to be very normal in what is an abnormal environment. Yeah. How many people are here? It's extraordinary. But it's fun. Trying to enjoy it. Fun.
So when you're pulling on the Aussie uniform at Atlanta or at the Sydney Olympic Games, is that more nerve-wracking, or is this watching your young bloke go about it?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question. There's similarities, but it's so different. I mean, look, I was a nervous athlete in some respects and just tried to run in my lane and just do my thing. And I hope that the boys, I hope Max channels that, doing his own thing as well. I can't do anything. I can cheer, I can cry, I can scream. I know I can do nothing for him. So I guess in that respect it really does calm my nerves. Yes. And it's so great, for all the boys, Brisbane and Geelong boys, to be playing in a final. So, I'm just happy to be watching a great game. Hopefully it's a great game, yeah.
He's a phenomenal runner. So what do they say about the apple and not falling too far from the tree? But I imagine he would have done little athletics and all these types of things as a kid. When did footy become the focus, that this is what he was going to do?
People think that he only played footy after athletics finished, but to be fair, Max made state teams in footy and state teams in athletics his whole sort of junior career. And I love that he loved aths. I mean, I love aths. It was great. It kind of took me back to the track, got to see my old coaches, my old roommates at the Olympics and things. But he always wanted to play football. I guess in some respects, his pathway years, he didn't play a lot of footy because he was absolutely tiny. I mean, our family, we don't reach puberty until we're, approaching 18. And some kids, they're 12 and 13 and they've got beards. So that was just not the way our family's testosterone rolled. So Max was aware of that and kind of it wasn't at the forefront in footy. But, everyone gets to their maturing at some stage, and it's all worked out.
Wow, so he was quite a little kid for a long period of time.
He was a little kid, much like myself. He's the kid, in a primary school photo, someone has to be at the front with their legs crossed holding the, grade 3, whatever. That was him, and year 9, that was him. Yeah, really little. He got drafted, actually, as a 74-kilo boy.
Wow.
So I guess he's probably, I should know what he weighs now. He's clearly 10, 15 kilos more than that now.
Well, you look at him now, he looks a proper athlete. You wouldn't suspect that at all.
190 centimetres, isn't he?
Yeah, 190.
That's what people don't realise.
No.
He's a genuine, 30 years ago, he's a key position size.
Oh, correct. He is tall, exactly. But, I mean, you stand next to Shannon Neal, who got drafted the same year. He has to duck at our house to get under a door. Toby Conway lived with him for a while. Same deal. So, it just depends who you're hanging out with as to how tall you look. But, 190, which is probably in your day, Luke. Absolutely. Probably pretty tall.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's right. So how serious was he about athletics? And was there a moment where he had to say, OK, I've got to park that and I'm going to have a go at footy?
Do you know what? There was a really pivotal moment. He won the under-18 national championships in the 400 hurdles in his bottom age year, so year 11. And said, that's it. I've made a national title. I mean, prior to that, he'd come second the year prior. He'd won multiple state championships in 400 hurdles, 200. So very, well credentialed in track. But once he'd won that national titles, he said, next year, I'm just focusing on football. So next year was 2020 and lockdown. So he played, I think he literally played one game. So Geelong, fortunately, had watched him play a game, Melbourne Grammar, Geelong College.
Yep.
And bless Troy Selwood watched him play there. and said that'll do, and pretty much got drafted off that game, which is extraordinary and, important to us and lovely for us. But yeah, there's different pathways, isn't there, for different people.
You mentioned Shannon Neal as part of that. During the COVID year in 2020, I heard Shannon speak about this recently, and as a native Sandgroper, I found it very touching, given many of us were on this side of the country and separated from our families. But Shannon spoke about his bond with Max and how they got drafted together and how close they were, and that your family actually took him in at Christmas that year. Can you give us an insight as to how that went and how that all came about?
Absolutely, and we really love Shannon Neal. He's a beautiful human being and such a talented footballer. But in that first year, it was lockdown. He couldn't go home for Christmas, and in fact, he couldn't go home at all. And often spent weekends with us in Melbourne when there was a game in Melbourne, and we'd have to get, I think, special consideration from the club to do that. But Christmas, absolutely, he couldn't go home. So, his mum and I organised for his Christmas presents from the grandparents and whatnot. Oh, this makes me feel emotional to be sent over. And so on Christmas Day, Shannon opened those up, in the Holmes household. Not ideal for him. But special that we could do that. And, we spent the whole summer with him, which was wonderful. So a really special boy. And we have a beautiful connection, and so excited to see he and Max playing their first grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, and just on that, so obviously he's had a tough couple of years in terms of how they've finished since 2022, Max. He seems a pretty unflappable customer. I love listening to him talk after games. He just he says it as it is, and he might have got that from Mum, I think, which is great. You must be rapt to see him again, like you said, tomorrow. How did he handle those, those disappointments over those last 3 years?
Do you know what? To be honest, he's handled it beautifully, to be honest, and he's probably handled it quite personally himself. We can love him as parents, Anthony and I, and Hunter and Lily as a family. But he had to really just understand, I guess, the finite nature that sport is. It's not a guarantee. It's not a given. It's not, you really have to earn playing your grand finals. And I think it took, Max had turned 20 only 2 weeks prior to that grand final. So, I don't care what any 20-year-old says. He was a baby dealing with that. And so has really just tried to get his body right, get his mind right. He would have had ups and downs in that, and he's spoken about that recently, which I really like that he's speaking about that. I think that's really important. And I think even, as a club, even having, I'm going off on a tangent now, having Bailey Smith talk so freely and fluidly about his mental health has almost given Max agency to do the same. Because, often people will say, pull your socks up, get on with it. Well, it's hard to get on with it,
Yeah.
So, and maybe he's, just sort of chipped away at that a little bit more internally. And he's got to this space, and he's delighted to be here.
They formed a pretty good relationship, those two. I coined them early on, when they, the 1-2 punch, the Dash brothers. They're a pretty lethal combination.
They are a lethal combination, and they have a running game, and I love watching that. I just love a running game. Just if they can run fast, I'm all for it. They're very different boys. Max is quite... Oh, they're talking about him now. They're different boys in some respects, but just nice. Bailey. Bailey's almost. We think he's jazz hands and very demonstrative, but he is a delightful, sweet boy, as are all the Geelong boys, and as is Max. So they get along on that level. They're different on the field, and I think that does make fun Dash brothers. Yeah.
Here is Chris Scott a short time ago speaking about your son Lee, Max Holmes.
If he hasn't been our best player over those 3 years, he'd have to be very close. No, in fact, I'll make the statement. I think he has been our most important player in the last 3 years.
So last one before we let you go, Lee, I was sent this Reddit board, which basically had embedded in one of the stories his vision from the concourse before the 2010 AFL Grand Final. And there was a young guy there in a St Kilda jumper. He was a little guy. He was getting interviewed on the concourse about why he thinks the Saints were going to win that day, decked out in all his St Kilda colours. And it turns out 15 years ago, before he runs out to play in the grand final tomorrow, that was Max Holmes. Yeah. So hardcore Saints fan as a kid?
You know what, he was hardcore Saints fans, absolutely. The whole family were. We love Luke Ball. This is so lovely, actually, being in Luke Ball's vicinity, I must say. Prior to you going to Collingwood, of course, Maxie was Stevie Milne. We just loved the way he went about it. But Max went to 3 grand finals as a little tacker. And just thought that's what football was, that you actually always go to a grand final. So as a Saints fan, has not been to another. And so it's kind of, it's a nice circle in a way. Now he's actually attending a grand final. So, die-hard footy fan since he was a little tacker, Auskick, the whole thing. Sport is great. I mean, Melbourne's great for footy. Australia's great for footy. Australia's great for sport, and it's a joy as a parent to watch it. It's a joy for us all to be involved and and cheer from the cheap seats and just be a part of it.
You're still running? Just quickly before you go, you're looking pretty. You look like you could.
Oh my heavens! Do you know what? I actually don't. Thank you. I don't run any longer. I'm trying to preserve my lower back.
Yeah.
I was running and I just couldn't stop but thinking I was still at the Olympics, going a little bit too hard. I ended up at Olympic Park a couple of years ago under the CT scan with my Olympic doctor, my Olympic physio, and I said, boys, tell me to stop. Just tell me to stop. I can't be having a scan and you're talking about cortisone and whatever. I've stopped. I walk the dog. I walk Max's dog. I babysit him all the time. So, I'm active. I'm healthy. Eat well. Yeah. Happy to be, healthy in life. Thank you.
Thank you to you for your services, not just as an athlete, as a sports person, but now a great sporting family. All the very best to Max tomorrow and the Holmes family. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it, boys.
Lee Naylor, the 2-time Olympian and mum to Max Holmes. What a great story on the precipice of the 2025 Grand Final. Great to have her with us on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass alongside the Premiership Pie Luke Ball. This is ABC Sports coverage of the parade. Back out onto the parade route, and Cam Mooney inside the Cats camp with Brian Myers.
Well, here with a couple of Geelong superstars. Braun and Brett superstars, my ad. So, mate, go on, tell us about the week, mate. How good's it been?
It's been pretty chill for me, to be honest. I like keeping it pretty low-key, so getting into the festivities and the excitement now and let myself build into it nicely.
How's this, when you look at this, when you see all the crowd come out on this, these days are pretty special.
Yeah, I've only lived through it once, and I'm pretty lucky to be able to do it again and take it all in even more this time, so it's pretty special we have this kind of support and how good the AFL is going at the moment.
You got one of the best small brigades in the forward line in the competition. Just tell us about how you guys interact with each other.
I think we just have fun out there and explore our strengths, and that's what we kind of complement each other in different ways. We all bring something a little bit unique and a little bit different, but it's all working really well, and hopefully we can do one more day of it.
All right, good luck, brother.
Cam Mooney there with Brian Myers. What a story he's been for Geelong. 14 score involvements in the preliminary final against the Hawks. Has 15 people at every game. He only gets access to 8 tickets, so he's had to have a few awkward conversations this week, Brian, as to who gets the call up and who unfortunately misses out. Corbin Middlemass and Luke Ball on ABC Sport, and this is my favourite time of the parade. For the second straight year, we get to catch up with the Herald Sun's cartoonist in Mark Knight, who has been drawing the premiership poster now for 17 years since taking over from the great Weg. Mark, welcome again to ABC Sport and congratulations on this year's edition.
Thank you, Corbin. Great to be here. It's what a day this is. I was just thinking, if I wanted sort of input onto my premiership poster, which I get a lot of, I should just set up a drawing board out here and have a crack. I'd get a lot of advice, I reckon.
Can you believe it's been 17 years? I mean, I remember, I loved, and we've spoken about it in the past, I'm a big collector of the premiership posters, and it's a great tradition. But I remember when Weg passed and when it was who's possibly going to be able to continue on, and you were the Herald Sun cartoonist at the time, and the pressure I imagine that would have come with that is this great tradition. Well, can you believe it's been 17 years?
I can't actually. I look back to that first poster in 2009, and I remember when they came to me, and I hadn't really thought about it, but I look back at Weg's, his catalogue starting in 1954 with the Dogs, and it scared me because they are iconic, if I can use that much used term, but just brilliant artwork that summed up everybody's hopes and dreams when their team wins the grand final. So I don't know. I took a bit of his style, but then I had to make it in my own fashion. And 17 years later, I think we've saved it. I don't think it's passed away with Weggy. Look, I think it's a lovely souvenir.
Yeah.
It's almost like a certificate of currency for supporters. Their team is actually the premiers that year.
And for footy fans alike, I mean, I'm an Essendon fan. You haven't gone close to drawing a bomber probably in your entire time doing it, but it's just a great collector's item, whether your team's in it or not. So this year's posters, $5. You can get them outside the G or through goodfridayappeal.com.au. The inspiration for the two posters, we'll start with the cat maybe, which I've heard you speak about during the week, and there's one player in particular that sort of came to mind when you were putting this together.
Well, I like to draw these. You know, I'm a political cartoonist during the week, so I bounce off news. So I like to use the prelims as a launching point for the poster. So, like everybody, I watched the game last Friday night, and he was this guy, 35 years old, running around like a teenager, just so powerful. And I thought, that's going to be my cat. And so the cat is very influenced by Patrick Dangerfield.
I love it.
And, of course, we've inked him up this year, the cat. I thought the greatest team of all tattoo was there, but why are they the greatest team of all? And so I've had to put all the cups on the tattoos as well, and that just shows you why they are the greatest. They are perennial high achievers.
You mentioned your first one was back in 2009.
Yes.
Drawn a lot of cats. You've drawn a lot of lions. Is there sometimes do you feel, how am I going to do this a little different? How am I going to get different inspiration? And as you said there, you've sort of lent on the Dangerfield aspect, but is there part of that where you think, what can I do that I haven't already done?
That's it. How do you reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
Colin. But, I love footy. I go to the footy. I sit in the outer. I don't like sitting in boxes. I like to take it all in, get the energy. And when this time of the year comes, it's so good to be involved. So I try and remake it every year. I think I've been successful this year. Someone said to me, was there ever a year when you didn't really have your heart in it? And I am a Swan supporter, so I have bled a lot of blood for my Bloods, especially last year.
Yep.
But I remember in 2014, I think we were minor premiers and we were up against the Hawks and we were looking really good. And I spent a lot of time on the Swans poster, and the Hawks poster was, no offence intended, but it was a bit of an afterthought. But of course they won.
Yes. And that's the one that lives forever.
And it does. It does. It's actually one of my favourites because I drew it with such relaxation.
The Brisbane Lions poster, so obviously back-to-back. I think I mentioned this to you last year. I love when the posters include the cups. And I know not every single premiership poster across the journey has always had the premiership cup in it. Yep. But a particular feature of this one, obviously going back-to-back, is both premiership cups are in the paws of this great line.
This is what this is about. Back-to-back is so hard to do. Only a few clubs have done it, but it's a testimony of the Lions and their success. That we could be looking at if they get up this year, we might be looking at a three-peat next year, and then you see, Chris Fagan goes into that exalted status with Lee Matthews and various other coaches who've managed to do it. So the two cups are there, they're gleaming. The Lion. Again, how do we remake the Lion? I've drawn it 3 years in a row. There's a bit of Levi Ashcroft's hair going on in that Lion.
I like it. It's a wonderful mane, and the little Roy Boys tattoo on the forearm obviously is a little nod to old Fitzroy. So the winning team, you can purchase the premiership poster. Now the losing team, I don't know how much we're meant to speak about this. It's a little sort of dark arts niche market, but as a collector of these things, I know it's sort of if the odd one that falls off the back of the truck here or there.
They do.
There's their own market for it completely. So there's no losing ones in circulation, they basically go off and get turned into recycling.
A few do fall off the back of a truck. Most of them are on their way to Vizzy to be turned into toilet paper, sadly. Yeah. But a few do fall off the back of a truck, and I have seen it. My son says to me, Dad, have you seen what's on eBay? What are you losing posters? Where did that come from? And it doesn't go cheaply.
No, they don't. It's amazing that it's become its own thing. But the winning one is the collector's item. You can get it through goodfridayapl.com.au. Is there a team in particular or someone where you think, gee, I'd like them to get to a grand final, I'd like to draw them? I remember when Fremantle made it, and so the Dockers had never made a grand final, and I think it was almost like a Popeye inspiration. You had the big forearms. It looked excellent. Is there a team where you think, gee, I'd like them to get there to draw that again?
I think your Bombers would be fantastic. Of course, Carlton, the big clubs. My wife is a long-suffering Carlton supporter, and, Carlton, help me out here. My marriage is in jeopardy because I keep drawing other teams' grand final posters. So Carlton would be awesome. Someone said to me, what would you do for the Suns? And I thought, they've got this sort of lifesaver mascot, but then I thought maybe, let's do a health message like a big melanoma or something with a Suns Guernsey on saying, be skin smart. But it was so exciting when I did the D's for the first time, and I had a lot of fun with that poster. I took it. I went a little bit sideways on that. I had flames and things everywhere, and I really loved it. And that was because how long was their drought?
Yeah. 50, or was it? Yeah, mid-50s.
Long time.
Mid-50s.
But hopefully. Even the Saners, we'd love to see the Saners get up.
Mark, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks heaps for all of that, bringing the posters along as well. They are an absolute collector's item. GoodFridayAppeal.com.au, or you can
and on sale here at the ground.
On sale outside the game.
Yep.
So $5, that's all you need, and you can walk away with a premiership poster. Congratulations on all your work again this year.
Thank you, guys.
Mark Knight, the Herald Sun cartoonist, one of the great traditions as part of Grand Final Week with us on ABC Sport. The parade continues as they make their way towards us at Yarra Park, both teams in the back of the Utes. We can catch up again with Alistair Lynch, who's got the man we've spoken about all week in Lachie Neale.
Lachie, you must be over the moon to be back here 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It sort of hits home now when you do the parade and see all the fans from both teams, and it's been an awesome trip so far, and it starts to hit home now that you're going to play in another grand final.
Was there a stage a couple of weeks ago where you thought it was definitely over for you?
Oh, absolutely. Probably the day after the Geelong game, got scanned and got a call saying it's pretty much season done. Well, it is season done, so I was able to function a little bit better than they thought I would be a few days later, and it sort of grew from there. But yeah, I thought my season was done a few weeks ago, so yeah, happy to be here.
And importantly, after pretty much a fitness test yesterday, how have you pulled up today?
Yeah, I pulled up fine. Yeah, I did a bigger session last weekend and pulled up well from that, so I was pretty confident that it would pull up well from yesterday, which it has, so yeah, I feel good.
It's been incredible achievements to back up 3 years in a row to grand finals. This year seems a little bit different with so many of the young players coming in to replace the injured guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of similar last year with Kai and Logs and stuff, so we feel like we've experienced it with youth before, and we back them in because it worked for us last year as well, and guys like Sam Marshall, Bruce Reville, Ty Gallup, and there's someone else, Levi. So 4 guys that haven't played in a grand final are going to get a chance, and they've done such a good job in getting us here, so back them in again.
Understanding this as an announcement for tomorrow, whether you're sub or you're starting on the ground or on the bench, but do you know what you're doing tomorrow?
No, I'm not sure. We'll have captain's run after this, and then our sort of final team meeting after that, where I think we'll find out then. So in a few hours, I'll probably know the answer to that, but either way, I'm just stoked to be in the team, so I'm very thankful that the coaching staff and the medical team have backed me in.
What do you want to do, though? You want to start, though, don't you?
I think everyone wants to start, but no, I'll play whatever role I have to, and if I am the sub, hopefully not needed until very late in the 4th, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm actually not sure what will happen yet.
Great to see you back, mate, and all the best tomorrow.
Thanks, Lynchy.
One game in 56 days for Lachie Neale, and he's broken down in his last 2 starts. Fingers crossed he makes it through tomorrow, and as he said there, he's not sure whether he will start as the sub or whether he will be in the 22. We've spoken a bit about Max Holmes and caught up with Lee Naylor, his mum, a short time ago. Here he is with Cam Mooney.
Well, Max, as we know, it's been well documented. You're probably sick of speaking about it, but you missed this a couple of years ago. How good's today?
It's good. I actually did the parade a couple of years ago, so got to experience that. But it's good to be here. The fans are doing awesome, and it's good to see such a good turnout.
How are you feeling? The week and all of those type of things. Obviously, it's an amazing week.
Yeah, no, it is an amazing week, and we've just been embracing it all week and just kind of soaking it all in because it is a special week to be part of.
Tell us about your, I guess, relationship on the field with Bailey. I mean, everyone calling you the Dash Brothers, which is a fantastic nickname. But have you pushed each other through the years? Is that how you felt?
Yeah, absolutely, and we've really tried to help each other out. At times when either of us have had a tag, we've really looked to help each other out, and we get along really well. So he's been great to play with this year.
Well, that man next year, it's not a bad journey for him.
He's done very well to be here, and I can't believe he was playing VFL for as long as he was.
All right, Maxie, good luck, brother.
Max Holmes speaking there with Cam Mooney a short time ago. Corbin Middlemass and Luke Ball at the 2025 AFL Grand Final Parade. And more interviews coming up in just a moment as we're just counting down to the teams making their way to Yarra Park.
I just tried to go for a little wander before.
Yep.
I'd highly advise against that if you need to get somewhere on time. It feels like there's more people than last year, significantly more.
Yeah.
Maybe was the stage there? Maybe I'm just...
I think we're in a different spot.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
So we changed around.
It's an extraordinary turnout.
There's people everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah. And the weather's finally come good too.
Great turnout. The rain stopped. It is a balmy 20 degrees with overcast conditions above. The parade started, for those of you that weren't with us a little bit earlier, made its way through Melbourne and Olympic Park into Birrarungma, over the William Barrick Bridge, into the MCG and the Yarra Park precinct. We just saw the Utes a short time ago on the concourse of the MCG before they make their way to the main stage where they'll be presented to the crowd, and the Premiership Cup will be held up. It's been a bit of a thing, it must be said, Balling, in recent times as to who touches the cup
Oh, you
last.
love this one. You love this stuff.
What's the line from The Office? I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I feel like that's what this is all about, as to who touches the cup last. And the theory is, if you hold on to the cup until the end,
you'll be holding it tomorrow.
You'll be holding it tomorrow. So do not let the cup go.
Last year? Because it was
I think last year they were almost identical the same time, because the year before that, Harris Andrews let it go early, and obviously Darcy Moore won the tug of war, and ultimately Darcy Moore was holding up the cup 24 hours later.
Oh, well, we'll have a good look at it today. I'm not sure Paddy Dangerfield's a superstitious guy. Anyway, we'll see.
Yep. Feels like Harris is doing a lot of the duties. He did the press conference. I'm not sure whether it'll be Lockie to hold the cup or not, given they've got co-captains, and then obviously there's other duties tomorrow, including the winner's speech. Last year we saw them both presented with a Barassi medal, which is a new thing in our game, of course, with a Premiership captain. Last year and again this year and every year going forward will be presented their own special medallion, and it'll be presented tomorrow by the great Ken Fraser, who was the 1965 Essendon Premiership captain. He captained a team in his first year as skipper.
Yeah, and they got the ex-captain, didn't they, up on the stage last year too, Dane Zorko, to get his hands on the cup as well. So that was a nice touch. So, yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Clint's just giving me a ripper here as well, by the way, Bally. 12 of the last 14 winners have been on the left-hand side of the captain's cup photo.
Speaking of left.
So right of the stage as we look at it.
Well, speaking of left.
Yep.
Again, towards the game tomorrow. Right. What are you waiting for?
This is a stat.
It's a great stat.
You know, I've been keeping track of the left footers all year, Bally. So I
feel like it's a good trivia question that we could
correct.
Throw, but anyway.
I thought, I wonder how many left footers are playing in tomorrow's grand final. And the answer is...
how many? 46 players.
46 players.
Let's say even 10%.
Yep.
So let's just say 5.
One.
No.
Jeremy Cameron is the only left footer playing in tomorrow's grand final.
That is crazy.
Isn't it?
That's a crazy stat.
So
there's only 2 on their list, isn't
there?
there?
There's only 2 on the Cats list. There's 6 on the Brisbane Lions list, but that does include the likes of Kitty Coleman and Eric Hipwood, who, of course, are injured and not playing in the game. So we will have 1 left footer on grand final day. I can't remember too many like that when you think of the great Hawthorn teams.
Yeah. They used to draft left footers, didn't they? Who were all nice kicks. That's an amazing stat, isn't it? Lawson Humphries can go both, can't he? He's probably close to ambidextrous, but listed as right. So 1 left footer out of 46 that'll grace the field tomorrow. That is amazing.
Amazing. Back out onto the parade route, Alistair Lynch is with Charlie Cameron.
Charlie, how are you, mate? How you feeling it? How's the mood around the joint?
Now it's going good, so just got to enjoy this occasion. Doesn't really come around that often, so yeah, got to enjoy it while you can.
Well, 3 years in a row for you now. Are you more relaxed with this build-up because you know what to expect?
Yeah, no, it's probably the same build-up as last year. Sort of a different environment. the last 3 years has been Collingwood, Sydney, and now Geelong. So yeah, different fan bases, but yeah, they're all welcoming.
And who do you expect you'll get tomorrow?
I think Guthrie, he was played against me well in the first qualifying. Great player, so just got to enjoy the moment, enjoy the matchup, and then whoever comes to me, so try and make the most of it.
And who we got here in the car? Are these Cow's kids?
Yeah, Cow's kids, mate. So I got young Ivor, young Daisy, so I got to babysit one of them. So yeah, all good.
Charlie Cameron there with Alistair Lynch. We'll take you to the presentation in just a moment. Kath Loughnan is kicking off the official proceedings, and the Premiership Cup will be presented in front of the crowd here at Yarra Park when the captains get the opportunity to lift up the cup. And there is a sea of people in front of us that are all here prepared for it. The last official event before the grand final proper itself. Tomorrow afternoon, our coverage on air from 12 noon Eastern. So you'll be able to find all of that through the ABC Listen app. Just look out for the AFL button, or of course it's on ABC Radio across the country. Clint Wilden to call his 10th grand final. I'll be there with him in play-by-play commentary. Kelly Underwood on the boundary. Ben Cameron roaming in the rooms post-game, along with Lauren Borden. And our experts made up of the man who's coached more games than anyone else in VFL AFL history, Mick Malthouse, the Australian Football Hall of Famer, and also Brett Deledio, the Richmond Hall of Famer, will be with us on Grand Final Day. We can take you to Kath Loughnan now and the official presentation as the crowd assembles for the lifting of the 2025 AFL Premiership Cup.
Welcome everyone to the Footy Festival here in Yarra Park and the 2025 AFL Grand Final Parade. This is where the countdown truly begins as we edge closer to learning who will be crowned premiers, Geelong or Brisbane. Shortly, our grand finalists will take centre stage with all players and coaches to join us on stage. We'll also hear from both captains. But firstly, please welcome Uncle Colin Hunter for an official welcome to country.
Thank you. I'd like to start by acknowledging that this morning we are meeting on the lands of my ancestors, the Wurundjeri people. And I'd like to take this opportunity to pay my respects to my elders, both past, present and emerging, elders from all nations. But I particularly want to pay my respects to them gathered here this morning. But I always like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us. I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to them also. Wominjeka, welcome. Wurundjeri Balik, Yiminkundi Bik. The Wurundjeri people welcome everyone to land today. Wurundjeri, no, Bunambur, War, Kondi, Nangnak, Dubban, Big Bully, Poor, Chilligan. The Wurundjeri people want to look after and protect the land as they did long before. Wurundjeri country extends from the inner city of Melbourne. It goes across the mountains of the Great Dividing Range, west to the Werribee River, south to the Mordialloc Creek and east to Mount Baw Baw. And the Wurundjeri people are part of the Kulin Nation and of the Walwang language group. And while on Wurundjeri country, you're welcome to the traditional lands on the waterways of the Wurundjeri people. So, Wominjeka, welcome. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Colin. Well, if we're going to do this properly, there's only one man who can get us into the spirit of the AFL Grand Final. He is one of the most iconic performers Australia has ever seen, and he's here to perform a song we should all know word for word. Please welcome to the stage the one and only Mike Brady.
Thank you, Kath. G'day. Here we go. There we go. I'm waiting for my band to arrive. What am I going to do without the track, okay? Can you help me? Oh, here it is. Come on! Turn a living, but on weekends comes a time you can do whatever turns you on. Go out and clear your mind. Me, I like football. There's a lot of things around. You line them up together. The footy wins hands down. Come on, everybody, here we go. 1, 2, 3. give it up. There were days when you could fly. Either love or hate it, depending on the score. But when your team run out, or they kick and roll, holes are fighting for. Come on! Oh! I'm there 'cause I've been there and fight. Out there and Adam, show them your might. I'm there 'cause I don't let them in. Fly like an angel, you're out there to win. Yeah, I'm there 'cause you're out there to win. Get there and Adam, don't let them in. Yeah, I'm there 'cause show them your hiding. Fight like the devil, the crowd's on your side. I'm there 'cause in there and fight. Out there and Adam, show them your might. I'm there 'cause show them your hiding. Fight like the devil, the crowd's on your side. The crowd is on your
One more round of applause for Mike Brady. Time now to welcome our 2025 Premiership Cup ambassador and Fox Footy's own Jack Riewoldt. Nicely done.
Yep, nailed it.
Jack, how's the week been? You've covered a fair few kilometres as Cup ambassador.
No, it's been great. I think in reflection, the Cup that's here, that there's so many fans that have come to see it and will come tomorrow as well, hoping that their team takes it home. It has no stories yet, but tomorrow the game will write the stories, and then after that, I'm pretty sure the players, which are hiding behind here at the moment, they'll write a few stories with it too, with the winning team.
What's amazed you as you've been Cup ambassador and you've met lots of people, taken it to many venues, footy clubs, schools?
I think it's the fact that this Cup has genuine aura. Whether it's the first time you've held it or whether it's the first time you've seen it, has a special moment for that person there, whether you're a Brisbane supporter or a Geelong supporter or another supporter that's here. It's just come along to the mecca of the MCG and you see the Cup. It's a pretty special thing.
You mentioned the players are behind stage, ready to join us on stage in a couple of minutes. Geelong and Brisbane, what would be your advice to the players?
Well, I don't really need to give them much advice because they've been here recently. So I think they'll enjoy it. I actually just saw Darcy Wilmot putting a finger in Chris Fagan's ear out the back here, which has become a bit of a tradition at Brisbane. But they all look calm, cool and measured. No doubt they've enjoyed the parade, so thank you for everyone for coming out. It's a very special moment as a player to be involved in the parade, so no doubt they've had an absolute blast there and enjoy what is the greatest stage on earth, playing for the greatest trophy.
Now, this is the time where you win over half of these fans. Who's your tip?
Look, I really hope we've got a great grand final ahead of us.
Come on, Jack. Who's your tip?
I'm going the Lions by 2 points.
Geelong fans, give it up for Jack Riewoldt. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Well done. Well, it is time now to welcome to the stage our third team in town. They are NAB AFL Auskicker of the Year nominees. I think this is a team we can all get behind. Please, a round of applause for our little NAB Auskickers. 2025 marks NAB's 22nd year of partnership with the AFL, supporting the game at all levels from NAB AFL Auskick to the big time. Look out for these Auskickers tomorrow at the MCG. They'll be presenting the premiership medals to the winning team after the match, but for now they can enjoy a front row seat as we get set to welcome the 2025 grand final teams. Please, one more round of applause for our little NAB Auskickers. Okay, footy fans, it is time for what you've been waiting for. Let's get our two grand final teams on stage, shall we? First up, please welcome Geelong. And now let's hear it for the Brisbane Lions. Beginning with the co-captain of the Brisbane Lions. He's been one of the biggest stories of Grand Final week. Please welcome Lachie Neale. How many times have you been asked about your calf in the past few weeks?
Yeah, a fair bit. I copped a bit from the Cats fans out there today that it wasn't right. So, yeah, I've heard it all week. But we have 22 other pretty good stories that hopefully get a run over the next couple of days because, there's some special stories in our group and I'm a bit sick of mine.
Well, we're not sick of it, so just bear with me for a few more questions. But how much of an emotional rollercoaster has it been from thinking your season was over following that qualifying final to now being playing tomorrow at the G in a grand final?
Yeah, I look like a bit of a goose. I think I put an Instagram post up saying my season was done and poor me, and now it looks a bit silly. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster emotionally, but yeah, the last couple of weeks I've just tried to focus on my rehab and sort of hone in on that and support the boys through a couple of really good finals where they've performed so well. So really proud of the guys to get in this position and got a obviously really tough game tomorrow, which we're looking forward to.
When was the exact moment you knew you were right to play?
Probably Saturday last week when I got through a session that was quite tough. So that's when I gave myself a really good chance.
And last one, when did you have that conversation with Chris Fagan and how did it go with Coach, I'm right to go?
Yeah, it was just after training yesterday. Fags just said, yeah, we'll play you once I got through the Thursday session. So, yeah, it was a pretty quick conversation and we've got our final team meeting later today where we'll finalise everything.
Finalise whether you'll start as sub or not?
Yeah, we'll probably find that out in a few hours, yeah.
What about when you look out to this crowd and you see all the Brisbane Lions fans who have travelled to be here? Is it starting to feel real?
Yeah, it is. They've been amazing. Since I've been at the club, they've turned up in droves to the Gabba. When we play in Melbourne, there's a massive following, so we're so proud of all our supporters and we can't thank them enough for the effort and passion that you guys show. It's been phenomenal, and both sets of fans today were so respectful, and yeah, it's a great crowd and I love our fans, so thank you so much for turning up once again.
You're an incredible club and you take on another incredible club in Geelong. What have been the key takeouts from that qualifying final loss and what you perhaps might do differently tomorrow?
Yeah, we didn't do much right and Geelong were very good. So we learn a lot from that. Hopefully we can implement a couple of different things to get a different result, but we know it's going to be a challenge. Like you said, they've been an amazing club, one that we've looked up to for a long time, and we feel like over the last 6 or 7 years we've turned into a very good club too. So it's going to be a great battle. we can't wait for it, and hopefully we come out on top. But it's going to be a tough game against a great opposition.
I could ask you what kind of different things you're going to implement, and Chris Scott and Patrick Dangerfield are probably keen to hear, but you're not going to tell me, are you?
I'll probably find out a little bit more, like I said, in a couple of hours when we have that meeting, but I probably won't say too much.
Shortly you'll lift the Premiership Cup. Is it going to be you or Harris lifting the Premiership Cup with Patrick Dangerfield for a few photos?
I think I'm doing it this year again, so that'll be nice.
And what's your strategy when you lift the cup? Are you a believer of last touch wins?
No, I tried to let go first last year, but Ramps beat me to it. So, I think we're handing it over at the same time, apparently. So we'll see how it goes.
We'll wait and see. I might have to ask Danger's plans. Lockie, great to see you fit and firing, ready for the grand final. Good luck.
Awesome. Thanks, Kath. Appreciate it. Thanks again, guys.
Lockie Neal. Well, now it is time to hear from the Geelong captain, Patrick Dangerfield. Well, does this kickstart the nerves and the adrenaline, Danger, when you look out and see all these fans?
Oh, there's been nerves throughout the week, Kath. Yeah, it's a special week of footy. It's incredible to embrace it. You know, no city in the world embraces sport like Melbourne does. And to go through the motorcade today and the parade is just amazing, the passion that the fans show, and it's going to be a cracker tomorrow.
You say you've been a bit nervous all week. How do you go about that? Do you try to distract yourself? Are you completely immersing yourself in everything?
I think it's important to immerse yourself, but 3 kids keeps the distractions aplenty. So it takes your mind away pretty quickly once dinner starts and witching hour begins. So that's a nice distraction, but yeah, I think nerves part is important. It means a lot, you know. So there'll be plenty of those for our guys, and no doubt the Brizzy boys as well. And that's the special part about the biggest game in the land. And you know, it's going to be a ripper.
How's the body feeling? Your body after one of the best games of your career? Have you got another 31-3 in you tomorrow?
Hope so. No, the body's feeling good. You know, our staff do such an incredible job to prepare our players, not only the old ones but the young ones as well. So we feel like we're ready. We had a great main session on Wednesday. Have a captain's run now, and there's just a great vibe about the place, and it's something to really be excited about.
It's always an interesting grand final matchup when you've met in the qualifying final. What do you expect Brisbane to do differently tomorrow?
Sort of Fags mentioned it in the presser. It's not groundbreaking. It's the intensity piece around the ball that's important in every game. And if you're off in that area, you know, you can lose your way quickly. And you know, both teams I think will be focusing on that and arresting momentum, scoring when you've got the flow of the game, and trying to restrict the opposition when they've got it. So I suspect we're similar in that regard. There's plenty of things we did right last time, and we've got to make sure that we get the game on our terms for longer periods than they do.
You don't need any more motivation for a grand final, but how much is Tom Stewart inspiring the boys at the moment?
Yes, Tom's been amazing. When he came in Monday, I don't think there was anyone happier in the building, which is quite extraordinary given the circumstances that he sits within. So, you know, there's a lot of stories in grand final week. He's obviously been a really big one. And there is no replacing Tom Stewart, but we'll do it in a slightly different way. But we're feeling for him. But the most important thing for us and for Cats fans and supporters is that we get the job done now.
Okay. And the job for you to do now is to lift the Premiership Cup. So I've asked Lockie his strategy. What's your strategy?
No, I take bananas fishing. So I do not care about... I've had plenty of messages about the last touch thing, but yeah, I'm a bit of a different cat, so I don't buy really anything into it.
Okay. Well, there we go. That's a bit anticlimactic of you.
Sorry.
Danger. No. Good luck tomorrow. We appreciate you being here, and also a chance to see your fans for one of the final times before the big game.
Thanks, Kath, and thanks to both supporter groups coming out. Incredible atmosphere. We love you both.
I'll now ask our captains to lift AFL Grand Final.
So as they lift the Premiership Cup, Lockie Neal turns out to be the last one to have his hand on it. He was also on the left-hand side of the photo. So you can make, if they win tomorrow, the Brisbane Lions, that'll be 13 of the last 15. If you're a fan of the Omens, and he was the last one to have his hand on the Premiership Cup as Patrick Dangerfield and Lachie Neale hold it aloft ahead of the 2025 decider.
A lot of respect, isn't there, between the two captains there, obviously, and the clubs in general, I think. There's not a lot of sort of looking for little needles here or there, but you can tell both clubs, obviously, and for very good reason, as we've spoken about over the last couple of hours, full of respect for each other.
It's a great grand final and really one of history and legacy, isn't it? Who's going to be the first team to 5 premierships this century? And are we living through the Geelong era, or are we living through the Brisbane Lions era? And maybe the result tomorrow afternoon will tell us a fair bit about that. Corbin Middlemass alongside Luke Ball. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2025 AFL Grand Final Parade. The crowd starts to disperse. It's a big day of footy in the AFLW world. There's a boatload of matches on today. There's one for broadcast on the ABC as well tonight between the Bulldogs and the Pies. Preceding that, it's Carlton and Fremantle at Princes Park. Essendon play the Kangaroos at Windy Hill. And to kick it all off just after 1 o'clock, it is Melbourne and Gold Coast. So that's about an hour from now to be played at Casey. Hawthorn winners last night over Geelong. And, of course, coverage of the 2025 AFL Grand Final tomorrow here on ABC Sport. Coverage kicking off from 12 noon. Something else to note out of tomorrow's big game as well is, of course, the Grand Final sprint. Have you noticed, Paulie, that this has been truncated based off previous years? So no more heats, nothing like that. There's 7 footballers and 1 boxer who's going to run in the Grand Final sprint this year. So talk about the parade being a long-running tradition. It's been staged since 1977. Just 2 years after that, the sprint started, 1979. And it feels, I hope this isn't the start of the sprint on the way out, is it?
Might be.
Just feels a bit like it,
a
doesn't it?
little bit. There's some big names, not necessarily those you'd associate with 100-metre sprints on footy field, but Bo McCreary back to defend his title from last year, of course, won a photo finish. And probably Nick Blakey's the other one that if you were a betting man or woman, that you might have a bit of a look at. But, yeah, it's a bit of fun, I think.
Toby Green from the Giants, Jed Walter from the Suns, Morris Rioli from the Richmond Football Club, Jack Higgins from the Saints, Murphy Reid, the rising star from the Dockers, and Harry Garside, the Olympic bronze medalist, is the surprise runner, it must be said. All the best to Harry in that. And Gap is going to be there to fire the starter's pistol. So
that's good.
He's not running, but we will see Gap.
I reckon he could fire the pistol, let them run for about 30 metres, and then take off himself and just run them down on the line. I think that's great, though. That's great to see him involved.
If you're listening to us through ABC Sport, stick around, or if you aren't, you can find us. All you got to do is go to the ABC Listen app, look out for the green ABC Sport button. If you click on that, or the AFL icon, you can follow along our coverage of the parade. We're on air for another half an hour from now, so we'll bring you more from the parade route. We'll hear from a few more of the players. And Lachie Neale's old man, Robbie, is going to come and join us as well. We'll give you all the atmosphere and the vibe of the parade in 2025, which has been a whole lot of fun. I'm going to get your tip in just a moment, Bally, ahead of the big game itself. Bailey Smith, who's been so much talked about, was with Cam Mooney on the parade route a short time ago. Here is Baz catching up with Cam Mooney from Fox Footy.
Mate, how good is this, mate? Last year, you didn't play any games of footy, coming back from a knee, now here you are in a grand final parade.
Yeah, no, it's I suppose exciting, and yeah, super grateful, but I'm ready just to get to 2:30 tomorrow, mate. So this stuff, obviously, take it all in, but I won't do much in and exert all our energy on Saturday.
And I mean, the expectations are you'll probably get something different thrown at you by Geelong. Are you ready for it? You know what you're going to get?
Yeah, I think we just need to focus on our process, Lynchy, to be honest with you. And if we do that, I think that'll hold us in really good stead. And obviously they gave us a little bit of a blueprint on, how to play finals football in that semi-final. So we took a little bit out of that game as well. So if we can implement that, we'll give ourselves a really good opportunity.
No worries. Well, all the best tomorrow. And just one more. If you're going to play cricket on the MCG, you're going to be a batsman or a bowler?
Batsman.
Rightio. Good work. Well, all the best tomorrow, mate.
Thanks, Lynchy. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
How good's that? The family element of the grand final parade with a few of the young ones in the cars in the back of the trays with Dad. So from this moment on, Bally, the last of the official ceremonies or events has concluded. Take us back to when you were out there. What does the next 24 hours, I guess, look like for a player that's about to compete in the biggest game of all? How do you spend Friday arvo into the time you arrive at the ground tomorrow?
Yeah, good question. Ideally, how you would usually spend it, Corb.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, I think, now. So you're right. All the abnormal stuff now is out of the way. There's a few things that are added to your acute pre-game preparation tomorrow leading up to 2:30. But from now, it's just normal routine. So if you go for a swim Friday afternoon, or if you go to the movies, or you go for a walk the dog, whatever it is, just do that and stick to that. And Brisbane, they'll have their usual travel routine. So I don't know if they had a run this morning, or do they have a run?
They had yesterday.
They trained yesterday. So and I think Geelong are the same. So go home, relax.
Time go fast or time go slow?
Slow. Yeah, slow, I think. And that's a bit of the argument against the night grand final too. Don't string it out any longer for us. We're ready to go. You heard Bailey Smith talk about it. He'll go back to his couple of acres back there and watch the tennis court being built. But by now, by then you're ready to go at 2:30. So stay relaxed. Not much you can do about it now.
I'll see you in almost 12 hours exactly.
Can't wait. Yeah,
24 hours. My apologies.
24.
Won't be midnight. It'll be 12 noon tomorrow here on ABC Sport.
Go and see Snoop Dogg or something tonight, eh? No?
Love your insights as always, Paulie.
Thanks, Corby.
We'll see Snoop tomorrow together. Don't worry about that. Luke Ball, the Premiership Pie. Thanks to our whole crew, to Lauren Borden and Clint Weldon, to Adam Jones, to Cool Jules, and all our techs here, and of course to Jules Hay and to Craig Davis back in the studio. That's been our coverage of the Grand Final Parade.
Of course, against this mob, but I think there's not too many chinks in the Cats' armour. So I think come 5 o'clock tomorrow, there'll be an 11th Cup heading down to Cardinia Park. I actually think they might do it pretty comfortably. Sort of 6 or 7 goals and run away with it in the last quarter. Such has been their strength this year. Obviously, Tom Stewart out hurts, but I think they can cover that pretty well across the board. And I just think they'll have too much firepower in that second half. So Cats for me, 6 or 7 goals, and I'm going to go with Lee's boy. We've had her on.
Yep.
I didn't know he was a Saints supporter growing up, but I think that'll be a bit of a story. Missed out in 22, of course, with his hamstring in the prelim last year. His first grand final. Sometimes you can be a little bit too cute trying to find a Norm Smith medalist. Often it's just the big guns that come out to play, and I think Max Holmes can add a Norm Smith medal to his resume tomorrow.
Brisbane Lions for me, Bally. I've been on the
strong
Lions.
on them,
I have in the back end of the year. So
stick with them.
Put me down for Brisbane and Will Ashcroft to go back-to-back in the middle.
Back-to-back are hard to win, aren't they?
Bally, we'll hear from you tomorrow at 12 noon for our coverage on ABC Radio. You are sticking around for everybody on ABC Sport Digital.
The momentum has been building.
Max Jorgensen is going to score for Australia.
The results have been turning.
What a great try! Australia score again!
Could this be the year?
He raises the flag, and Australia come to the lead.
Will the Wallabies finally win back the Bledisloe Cup for the first time since 2002?
And Australia wins the Test match. The Wallabies lower the colours of the All Blacks.
The Wallabies versus the All Blacks. Live from Eden Park. Saturday, September 27 on the ABC Listen app. This is the AFL Grand Final Parade, live from the streets of Melbourne.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio, and on the ABC Listen app.
Great to have you with us from the Footy Fest at Yarra Park. Corbin Middlemass alongside Luke Ball, the Premiership Pie. We got a very special guest, Paulie, that is about to join us here on ABC Sport as the completion of the Grand Final Parade. And this is the hardware, boy. The Premiership Cup for 2025. You know all about these.
Should we have gloves on? We don't have fingerprints all over this.
It sort of feels a little bit different than the Melbourne Cup. There's fingerprints all over it. I'll tell you what, the ones that are on there tomorrow, Bally, they won't come off. But here it is, the Premiership Cup for 2025. As we just pause for a photo. It's
heavy.
It is, isn't it?
No, it is. It's heavy.
Do you remember your one from 2010?
Yeah.
Did you have a drink out of that on occasions?
Yeah. It's what we all play for, isn't it? And
amazing.
I like the fact that it hasn't changed over the years too. Yeah. It's an amazing piece of silverware. that, as I said, one of the clubs tomorrow will be adding to their trophy cabinet.
As an Essendon supporter, you'll need to describe it to me fully as to
I was waiting for you to say something like that. I was going to go there, Cor, but it has got lots of fingerprints. You're right.
Yeah.
It may be different to a lot of other silverware across global sport. We let it do the rounds, don't we? We heard from Jack Rewald earlier. I think I said to you, Jack's actually at our local primary school. We've got a daughter together in prep, and it made its way down on the footy finals day, the last day of term 3. It made its way down to St Joan of Arc as well. So I think it's great that we let it do the rounds. It's a national game now, as we know, so everyone can see and touch and get access to it. But tomorrow, it'll be in someone's prized hands.
Lachie Neale was the last man to touch it. If you're a big one for Omanens, so he was the last one to touch the cup as the captains released it on the stage a short time ago. Our coverage of the 2025 AFL Grand Final Parade. We've got a couple of special guests about to join us. Speaking of the Neale family, Dad Robbie and Mum Amanda. So they're just chucking on some headsets, and we'll be able to bring that to you before we give you a little bit more from the parade route. So Robbie Neale and Amanda Taylor, Mum and Dad of the great Lachie Neale, the two-time Brownlow medalist, Barassi medalist, all sorts of honours in the game's history. It's a hell of a resume. Robbie and Amanda, appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
How good's this? Long way from Colby Bowler.
It certainly is. It was about a 5-hour drive yesterday, so nice and early to get here yesterday lunchtime.
How'd I go with my pronunciation?
No, you did very well. Perfect.
Tell us about Colby. What kind of place is it? Where is it for people on the map that might not be familiar?
It's right on the border of South Australia and Victoria, so sort of between Mount Gambier and Bordertown. And, yeah, where we are on the farm, if you jump in the neighbour's paddocks, you're in Victoria, and jump back into ours and you're in South Australia.
When did you know you had a Brownlow medalist and a premiership captain running around in the streets of Colby Bowler?
I didn't, but we hoped that we did when he was little and down there practising his goal kicking from every part of the oval, even from up in the stands and try to kick from everywhere.
It's been an amazing journey, hasn't it, for Lachie? Then he goes to one side of the country, obviously over in Perth at Fremantle, and then to the other side of the country in Brisbane. And what we don't hear about is the family, and a lot of the time the parents following it. It's been an amazing journey, hasn't it?
It's been a fantastic journey. Got me on? Yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, one that we didn't envisage, but the last 14 years has been incredible, and I guess to be here for the third year in a row with the Brisbane Lions, it's still a pinch yourself moment. Been a pretty interesting couple of weeks, but great to be here.
Take us into that. How much does he confide in you? Obviously, it looked like all was lost in that qualifying final 21 days ago.
Yeah, and look, we're both Amanda and I in constant dialogue with him over it. It's really just as a support crew. But probably last week, to be honest, Luke, with his training last Saturday, he had a very solid session. I think he said it was the hardest one he'd done in quite some time, and I think he grew a lot of confidence out of that and pulled up really well. And then yesterday, he pushed himself very hard. I was talking to Harris Andrews last night. He said he hasn't seen Lachie sprint that quick for quite a while. And that was he just wanted to test it to the max. And if anything was going to go wrong, he wanted it to be yesterday rather than tomorrow. But he's feeling in a really good spot with it.
So now full steam ahead. So we can all turn. Everyone likes talking about it. But for now, into normal game mode preparation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
We were talking off air. I think we're going to ask the question, don't we? I mean, they're pretty celebrated calves, these, in the AFL. I play with a guy called Robert Harvey, who had, I thought, the best calves that certainly I'd ever seen. And he was one who could deal with a little calf injury and come back pretty quickly. The question is, where did he get them from?
It's a toss-up. I think we've both got humongous calves. We've both got pretty big calves, so we didn't have a hope of having little ones.
he did a very quick story on popping a calf. After he did it in the qualifying final in the rooms afterwards, he said, "I've popped my calf. Have you ever done one?" And I said, "I did actually when I was 45." And he said, "You weren't playing footy at 45?" And I said, "No, it was on the dance floor at the New Rat Hotel." And it took me a lot longer than 3 weeks to get over that. So he's done well.
Amanda Taylor and Robbie Neale, the mum and dad of the great Lachie Neale, the two-time Brownlow medalist and, of course, premiership captain of the Brisbane Lions. So what does the day look like for the Neale family? You've obviously got the chance to live it the last couple of years and even early on in 2013 with the Dockers. What does grand final day look like for the family?
Quite relaxing. I think we've got media at first thing in the morning, and then a relaxing morning, a bit of breakfast, and maybe a little champagne to ease the nerves and then enjoy the day, yeah.
And who comes with you from the extended family? So I think, the players get about eight tickets, I think, each. Who else will you be sitting with?
Well, we've got both of our partners and the rest of the children, so all the siblings. So, yeah.
What do you like when the balls bounce? Do you ride every bump? What do you like as watchers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think early days, definitely. Pretty much every game, I think you ride every bump, and I think you soon realise it's out of your control. So we both love footy. The whole family love footy. So we just try and enjoy the occasion, and the nerves are there, but we understand we can't control it, so try and embrace it.
You watch them closely all year. Where can they? I think Chris Fagan said, what's the call? They're
the equal dogs.
I think, as far as betting goes, they're underdogs. But it sounds like there's a genuine, confidence within the group, given they've been there last year, even though it is hard to win back to back. You watch them closely all year. What do you see? How do you see tomorrow playing out?
I think one of the upsides is that they've beaten them twice during the home and away round, including a bit of a hoodoo down at Cardinia Park, and I think to get that win there and the pressure they put on through the midfield, not allowing them corridor, was fantastic for their confidence. They understand they didn't bring their best, and Geelong were very good in the qualifying final. So I think there's a real level. I think you're right. What we do know is Brisbane's best is good enough. Yeah. So it's a great way to go in, and in a grand final, whoever brings their best and can handle the pressure, I think, can come out on top.
Robbie, Amanda, I hope it's the day you want it to be for your sake. Enjoy. Really appreciate you chatting with us on ABC Sport.
Thank you.
Good luck to both of you.
Amanda Taylor and Robbie Neal, mum and dad of Lockie Neal, with us. We're lucky enough to have the Premiership Cup here for 2025, and I'm sure the Neal family will have plenty of photos with that tomorrow if it's able to be in the Brisbane Lions locker room at the end of the day. So we know that the team news on that front, that Neal has been named. He's going to play. The question is, will he start as the sub or will he start in the 22? And Reece Stanley obviously comes in for the Cats. Is there a matchup or an area in particular, Bally, that you're particularly focused on when the balls bounce tomorrow?
Well, the midfield, clearly, the battle through that part of the ground with stars everywhere is going to be critical. I think you go back to the most recent form, don't you? The most recent time they played, and it was just a demolition out of the centre from Geelong, and Brisbane weren't able to really, after quarter time, weren't able to really recover from that and get any sort of semblance of their game going. I like the fact that both of these teams are top three for offence. So I think at some stage that the game will open up one way or the other, and a team will kick a winning score. I don't see it being a dour defensive struggle tomorrow. The conditions are going to be pretty good. So both teams, defend so well as a unit. But I think their ability to be able to then transition the ball when the game settles a little bit. Both teams' strength this year has been, Geelong clearly number one at transitioning the ball from back to front and scoring, and we know how they do that with those dynamic half forwards that get up the ground. So those matchups are going to be critical to Zorko. Who does he go to? Yeah, and how much does he let his opponent get up and get involved in transition? There's going to be critical matchups all over the ground. I just think, as I said, Geelong are just so solid across the board that they're probably the safer bet. But Brisbane have got match winners, haven't they? They've got, as Robbie said then, they've got match winners who were able to get it done last year, and throughout the season as well, they were able to stop Geelong's transition. They were able to defend really well. So they would have gone, as you heard Chris Fagan say, they would have done a lot of work in terms of learnings from the qualifying final, where really after quarter time it was pretty emphatic, Geelong's performance. I don't see centre bounce domination like I did. I just can't see that happening. Hugh McCluggage, I feel like surely will be better prepared this time around. He won't have he won't get overruled, you think, by the Mullen matchup, which will surely come again. You reckon? Given the success. Yeah. I think so. They have to go with that again.
Fascinating. We talked about a good stat earlier with Jeremy Cameron, the only left footer that's going to be playing in tomorrow's grand final. But how about this one? So it is the sixth occurrence that we have seen the qualifying final matchup repeated in the grand final. So used to happen more regularly than what it has done in recent times. And of the previous 5 occurrences, 4 times the results flipped. It's incredible. So it's sort of, and I know there's a phrase or an analogy that often gets used in the NFL where it's hard to beat the same team twice. That to be able to, given all the matchups, and it's almost like the team that loses learns and is able to make the adjustments. And the leniency, obviously, for the team that wins is that they do the same thing again. So who does it favour, do you think, the qualifying final result?
Well, again, they were asked about that, weren't they? I don't think Brisbane were. I don't think they'll be as bad in a sense. I think everything went well for Geelong that night after quarter time. It was interesting, wasn't it? I mean, Stewart got injured, didn't he? And then from that point on, Geelong really took over the game. And even then, Brisbane kept at it and had their moments, but Geelong controlled the game after quarter time. So, as I said, they'll take some learnings out of that. I do feel like, why wouldn't you go with Mullen on McCluggage again? So Brisbane, having seen that, will have some plans around that. How do we support Hugh a little bit better? Hugh himself needs to steel himself for the matchup and work his way through it as well and work out how he can contribute, not only with ball in hand, but can he go and create a 2-on-1? Can they manipulate the midfield a little bit more? If O'Connor's going to go to someone, can they get the matchups they want in the centre bounce, meaning that an Atkins or a Dangerfield has to go out? So little things like that I don't think necessarily will win or lose the game, but they might have an impact in terms of the momentum at the time. So, I think Brisbane would have learnt more out of the qualifying final. But I think one of the strengths of Chris and the coaching staff at Geelong is their ability to be able to change things on the run and adapt to what the game's giving them. And then we saw that last week against Hawthorn, who jumped out of the blocks, didn't they? And there was no panic. There were a few little magnets moved around, and then the class and the experience and the star factor of Dangerfield and others, took over. So that's why I feel like it's going to be really hard to tip against Geelong. But I know you've been strong on the lines, and they do have that star factor to be able to produce those moments.
Just on those years where the results been flipped from the qualifying final, so Brisbane 2003, Sydney and West Coast in 2005 and 2006, they played each other and the result flipped.
Toss of the coins,
it's amazing the way that went back and forth in those close games. And then 2015, Hawthorn actually lost to West Coast week one of the finals, came the long way around the mountain to win. The only team that's actually, until now, and hopefully Geelong are about to become the second for their sake tomorrow, but the only team that's been able to uphold the qualifying final result was West Coast, who won 2 close games against Collingwood in 2018. So that stat does favour the qualifying final loser when they meet again on Grand Final Day. Human interest stories, there's great ones right throughout both teams, as there always is on Grand Final Day. One of my favourites from a personal reason is going to be Levi Ashcroft, who this time last year we sat in the ABC broadcast box with him and his dad as Marcus came round and had a chat, and Levi had just won his 3rd consecutive premiership playing for Sandringham in the under-18s competition, and we saw those indelible moments and images at the end of the game where he leapt the fence in his casual clothes and was out there celebrating with his older brother Will, and Will put his arm around him having just won the Norm Smith, but he wouldn't touch the Premiership Cup. So even in the rooms post-game they were having family photos, and Levi said, no, don't want to touch it until I get the opportunity to win one. And who'd have thought 12 months on he gets the opportunity tomorrow.
Well, you probably would have thought, wouldn't you, given the age and stage of that Lions team and the fact that he was going to join them as the number 1 pick. I think he nominated Brisbane by then, didn't he? So he had a pretty fair idea that he was going to end up there. And he gets his opportunity tomorrow after a terrific year, it must be said, to come straight into a premiership team, even as a number 1 pick, and pretty seamlessly fit in. He's had his sort of ups and downs throughout the year, as any first-year player does, but he's been, at times, a critical part of that team. So he finished 3rd, or it might have been 3rd in the Rising Star. So, he's had a sensational year. And I don't know, can we get Marcus back up to the box?
He's going to be there.
Maybe with the sister, who's a star herself, isn't she?
I did extend the invitation to Lucy. She doesn't want to join us, unfortunately, but Marcus will be there from 12:30 tomorrow, so we'll get to relive some of that with him.
He was nervous last year.
Well,
with one son out there, how's he going to be with 2?
I'm not sure he was keen to do it, but I put it on him and said, I don't know if you're a believer in omens and you want to come back again, so we almost sort of forced his hand into it. He'll be back again tomorrow. Some other great human interest stories. So Sammy Marshall, who very few people are talking about, but he's in his 10th game. He was best of field last year for Sandringham in the under-18s grand final, so playing alongside Levi. They'll play in an AFL grand final together tomorrow. Ty Gallop in his 5th game. So that's since the year 2000. I think there's only 3 guys that have played in fewer games before playing in a grand final than him. Marlon Pickett was one. Richard Hadley was another. Jack Graham was the 3rd name that I was forgetting. So all of those guys earlier than their 6th game, and then Jake Bowie played in his 7th match. And the interesting thing to note, of all those other 4, they all won. They were all on the winning team. So Ty Gallop, who was playing for Maroochydore in the Queensland Footy League this time last year, gets his opportunity to play. And how about a little town called Queenscliff, which is a town at the southern end of the Bellarine Peninsula. There's a footy team down there called the Couters, Coutas, which is like a king mackerel fish, for example. 2 players.
Sorry? It was a boat too, isn't it?
I think the team is named after the fish, basically. For the sake of the story, Paulie, we'll roll on with it. So from Queenscliff, they've only ever had 2 players drafted ever. Those 2 players are Darcy Gardner and Jai Clark, and they're going to play against each other tomorrow on Grand Final Day.
Surely they'll be filming it, or they'll be showing it in the club rooms tomorrow, you'd hope.
They're going to be guaranteed a winner one way or the other tomorrow, the Queenscliff Footy Club. So good luck to the Cooters. And the Jack Bowes story. So this is a guy who was part of a salary dump, and a lot of people will be thinking, what on earth's a salary dump? Well, basically, there was too much of his contract on the books of the Gold Coast Suns. They had to move him on, but there was very few teams that would have wanted him for that kind of a price. So what they said, just to sweeten the deal for the Cats, they said, hey, we'll give you a really high draft pick. Yep. That pick was pick 7. They went and used that on Jai Clark. They got Jack Bowes, and now the pair of them are running out for Geelong in a grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he hailed from Cairns too, Jack Bowes, part of the Gold Coast Academy originally. So, I mean, that's it's a great story in itself, and he's become a really important role player for the Cats. He'll have some moments tomorrow, no doubt, where he can have an impact on the game. But it is great. That's the other thing, isn't it? This time of year, there's stories aplenty, and I think the point around the junior clubs as well, that there's 46 or around that junior clubs all watching on and cheering on their players tomorrow, and they can go back then and hopefully use that as inspiration for the next lot of junior players coming through their club. So that's the beauty of Grand Final Day.
Let's hear from one more of the players, the bricklayer from Broadbeach, Dane Zorko, a mature age pickup. What a story he's been able to carve out from that point on. He's speaking with Cameron Mooney.
Dane, this must be an extra special part of the experience having the kids out here with you.
Yeah, it's always great. They sacrifice a lot, families do, so to share this little moment with them is also awesome.
So introduce us to the kids. Who we got here?
We've got Giselle and Lewis. You won't get much out of Giselle.